pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, down.
Underwood.
Here.
Gilman.
Here.
Chasm.
Present.
Corn.
Yes.
Neiman.
Here. Approval of agenda. Revisions.
Do we have a blue sheet? I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to propose a change to the agenda. I'd like to move item E as the new item Q.
Can we find support for that?
I'll support that.
Are there any other revisions? All in favor? Aye. Conflict of interest? Conflicts? Public comment. Would you read the?
Any person may make an advanced appointment with the board regarding road commission topics for a regular or special meeting in accordance with open meetings act. If an appointment is made, the topic will be an agenda item. The following applies to public comment. Please state his or her name and township or district. Topic must be relevant to the road commission. Individuals are allowed to speak once for up to 3 minutes on a single topic, which may be extended by the chair. A group addressing the board requires a designated spokesperson who may speak up to 10 minutes. The board will not act on any item from the public that is not on the agenda.
Is there anybody who would like to make public comment? Okay, start in the front and we'll just work our way back to the back. Up to the podium, please. Well, welcome.
My name is Dave Kahn. I live out on Hoosier Valley Road. And I've lived there for 20 years now, just over 20 years. And thank you for coming out lately. Grading it was nice. And I'd just like to say there are about 25 to 30 serious holes all along Hoosier Valley that have been here for 20 years. They fill them up sometimes with different product, basically clay and sand and dirty things that just wash right out as soon as it rains again. I'd like to know if since they're doing such a lot of work out on 31 through Interlochen out to Lake Ann, and they're getting a lot of grinding from millings and stuff, is it possible that the Road Commission could maybe possibly get some loads of millings from the work that's being done out there to fill in those bigger holes along Hoosier Valley? That would be at least more substance than the clay and mud that's been going in there. At least wouldn't take much to fill the 25 or 30 holes and come in with the big equipment thing that you have with the 500 wheels or however many there are on there. I don't know. It would just crush it down and flatten it out pretty good. I'd like to see if they would, at least the gentleman might think about that and try to do something with some of those millings that they're going to have 20 miles of worth out there from that area in Interlochen. That's all I have to say.
Thanks for your comment.
Thank you.
Next. Sure.
Hello, my name is Rick Prince. Oh, thank you. My name is Rick Prince. I'm a civil engineer and with Prince Lund Engineering. And not on the agenda tonight, but I wrote a letter to Chairman Lehman last week regarding design speed. I heard a short discussion before regarding a proposed road that we've approached the board last year about potentially adopting at the Olson Foundation project. And the particular road's name is Olson Boulevard. And we each submitted a design for that. And there was a concern that, in short, without adding more curves to the road, we've designed it for in 30 miles an hour, intended to be closer to 25. The straight segments of the road might encourage speeds greater than that. Subsequently, a traffic study might have the state police recommend posting at a speed greater than design speed. And I want everybody to understand in the letter I wrote, the Ashto Green Book, the design guide, many years ago, almost 25 years ago, removed the statement that the design speed is the safe speed of the road. It is not. It is the design speed is a sets a it sets the criteria for determining sight distance and curves, vertical curves and horizontal curves. Of course, many designers here know that. I had wondered if the commissioners had time to speak on the subject and maybe try to find a possible resolution than altering the design as it's currently stated. I know you can't answer in this piece, so I just want you to I'm encouraging you to speak about it, and so we can get back together at another time, maybe another agenda item, and find a resolution for this, because there are a few I think that are quite possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close public comment and move on to 7A appointment. Mr. Mead? Yeah. Thank you.
Rob Mead. Thanks. First, I pass that. I appreciate it. Thank you. I want to thank everybody. I know this is probably not the priority with everything else you have going on, so I appreciate you making me first on the list, and also appreciate everything you're doing to try to fix what's happened over the last several weeks. So it's been tireless nights, I'm sure. I'll try to be fast. I do have additional information if that's not clear on there. The reason I'm here, you had approved purchase of property, which is very thankful, and we're moving forward with that to develop the property over in Blackwood, part of Ron. At that time, we talked about the potential of also taking, there's Brook Street as well as an alley that are over there. You can see photos of that. Those are in fairly big disrepair right now and are going to require a lot of work. And our thought was, we really want a safe place for people to drive, a safe place for people to walk. We're doing our best to clean that up right now. We're in the middle of taking all the mobile homes and a lot of the other junk that's there. That's should be cleaned up by the end of this week, mid next week, and then we start going into excavating. Along those lines, I think it'd be helpful if the board would consider us taking over the maintenance management of Brook Street that as the boundary of our property, as well as the alley that goes through the middle of it. We would be more than happy to take over the maintenance of that and the ongoing repairs. There's quite a bit of work that's going to have to go in and already for drainage and everything else. We're prepared to make those investments. But by owning that, that would then put the onus on us and owners of those properties to make sure that that road is clean at all times, safe, walkable. We're planning on having children in the area. So those are all things that I think should be considered. I'm here to answer questions regarding that. I do have additional information, including site plans, if you want to look at more detail. Those are just kind of aerial views of what we're talking about.
So when you're talking about taking over the maintenance and whatnot, are you talking about assuming the right of way ownership, or are you just talking about taking over the responsibility of it / for now, and then we still at
We'd
some
like to
point
take ownership of it.
Is Brook Street and Alley both road commission jurisdiction roads? Oh, okay, and do we spend any money on maintaining both of those roads?
It's on what?
Do we plow it, for example?
I believe Brook Street.
Brook Street, not the alley.
Not the alley. Yeah,
And-
the alley's too small.
Is that, how much traffic is there on Brook Street? Do you know?
I don't know.
Are you the only property owner on adjoining Brook Street? If any on other side, there's nothing?
On the other side, there is abandoned railroad line that goes through there.
Okay, so is there any reason why we can't just abandon especially the alley?
You remember when he was here
a
a few months ago? I suggested he buy it from us because I didn't like all the driveways. We made an exception from him, gave an exception for the driveways. Since then, recently Dan reached out to Bill Henn and Bill told Dan we can't sell it to him.
No, because in order for us to be able to sell it, we have to own in fee the land underneath the
Right.
road. If this was a dedicated road as part of when this was developed as a plat or whatever, the village plat, we only get the surface, we only get the public right of way, that we don't own in fee the land underneath the road. So we don't have any ownership rights to that land.
So what process would you suggest?
A resolution abandoning the road, basically the standard is that the abandonment of the road is in the public interest.
And is this the typical where you're supposed to have property owners?
We can, or we can do it on our own as
I think
well.
we can do it on our own. In
So
this
we-
case, because he is
Right,
directly
he's the
adjacent.
sole property owner adjoining that road, so we don't need to go through the petition
And-
process.
Okay.
And the will of the township is,
I was gonna say, that's one of my questions.
I 100% support Rob's
it's an
request.
easy one.
Yeah, so I would recommend, Mr. Chair, that we ask our legal counsel to draft a resolution abandoning both the Brook Street and the alley.
I just have one question. There is a business in between the road and the highway that wheels.
Oh,
Yeah,
They
What
lease that
kind of
from
access
them,
would
right?
they have for their, because I know they do park along the road, or I know it's kind of a cluster over there, so.
Yeah, we're not sure. That's the township. I'm not sure what's gonna happen there. There's a lot of traffic going through there right now because that road is down to one lane, so traffic's being diverted onto 633. So I'm a little concerned about what's gonna happen there with all the traffic, and because they stop traffic now to go back and forth, but that's a different issue.
Cause those customers do park.
They do park. They park on
They park on that side.
on the far side, where the railroad is.
They
yeah.
still have access. I believe it's a female. She still has access.
She does. She's wonderful. We've talked to her several times.
Okay.
So we can direct him to Mr. Henn to drop a resolution. And
Yeah.
we'll vote on it next month.
whenever. We do not need to, we can ask, but if it's on our own, we do not have to have here.
And I had one last question.
We have the option to have a hearing.
Okay.
If we would
Do
like.
you want to have a hearing?
I personally don't. If the township is in favor of it and there are no other property owners adjoining the area, I don't see who would show up for a hearing other than me, non-property owners with non-property interests.
My last question is to Dan, and that is there any negative impact to operations by not having the road ours?
No, I think it actually helps improve our system doing it this way. There's plenty of access off 633 and State Road.
So if you need me to make a motion to that effect,
That would be great.
I'll make a motion to direct staff to contact legal counsel for the purpose of drawing up a resolution to abandon Brook Street and the alley.
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion? We would need to roll. All this.
It's a resolution.
No, we're not making a resolution.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to drop a resolution. That was the motion was to drop a resolution and then we'll vote on it next month. All right, very good. That meets your timeline, Mr. Meek?
Sure. Thank you very much.
We have a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Favor for this. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Mayor.
Really weird being on this side of that table. Anyway, it's good to be back in here. I appreciate what you guys have been doing out there in the community. Partnerships are being built, but communication among staff to the townships have been great. Any questions that we've had have been answered very quickly, and that's great. And I love the partnership, especially what you just proposed there to help another community do better. I'm here because I'm concerned, as does our board. They directed me to come and ask if you guys would do a temporary traffic control order during the construction out on the highway there. The reason being the detour goes right past the Arts Academy. All of our traffic is going to be going through there. Any emergency services calls, probably 80% of our emergency service calls are going to have to travel through that area to respond anywhere in our township because of all the roads that are being shut down because of the construction. Problem is, if you got cars parking on either side of that road, and I come through there in a fire truck with lights and sirens going, there's nowhere for the vehicles to go. There's a couple of board members that want it permanent. We have not come to a conclusion we want that or not. I believe Peninsula Township, Dan told me, did their own police power ordinance, which allowed the county sheriff to write a ticket, but not the state police. I'm not a lawyer. You might have a lawyer on your board that can tell if that's true or not. That's what I've been told by a few people at a township meeting. I was just already mentioning that. If road commission writes or does the traffic controller, that allows state police to write the parking tickets if they so desired. State police is really amped up and have a safety grant to produce or help alleviate some of the traffic issues that we've had. People cutting through parking lots, people speeding through neighborhoods, you know, the whole slew of things you guys probably got calls on as well. I'm hoping that we can partner with you guys and have you guys do the traffic controller, which gives us a little bit more, from my understanding, a little bit broader enforcement through the different law enforcement agencies in the area. If you don't want to do that traffic controller, we would appreciate at least a support of us doing a police power ordinance, because we may have to put a sign or two.
Do you have language prepared?
I do not, because, you know.
For the ordinance. I mean, you know, I mean, sometimes it's great. Yeah, for us. Yeah,
I was thinking.
I don't have a problem with it. I think, you know,
we can.
obviously we're in a situation where, I mean,
We can't adopt
this.
ordinance. No.
We can't adopt it.
We can't adopt.
They have the police powers. As township, they have the authority to adopt a police power ordinance. We don't have the statutory authority to adopt an ordinance. We can adopt a traffic order, like you are asking.
Temporary traffic control order.
Yeah, whether it's temporary or not.
That's what ideally our board would like to see
Yeah.
a temporary traffic control order
And we
for no parking, as I lined out in the
Diamond Park Road.
from J. Mandy Parkway, from Riley to Euchre, which is the detour.
Okay.
And then also along Diamond Park from J. Maddie to Sawmill Road. Even though it's not part of the detour, if there's concerts there, they're gonna try to cram in there, and that's another area that we've got to use a lot for. There's a lot of medical calls out that way.
So we have the authority to do that jointly with the
Temporary
Michigan State Police, whether it's temporary or permanent. We can do that. The only thing I think I don't think we should have an issue with that is that under the statute, there's a requirement that it has to be based on an engineering survey, which our engineering department can just prepare a justification for it, that there is a justification for no parking for that period of time they're requesting. And then that gets approved, and then we just file it with the county clerk, and that's it.
And we're looking through December of this year,
Yeah, so
in the event that the construction goes longer than anticipated.
So we need the traffic survey.
an engineer, no, not a traffic survey, just an engineering survey, just to, they basically have to show that by prohibiting parking, it increases public safety and it doesn't interfere with the free flow of traffic. So, which based upon what Andy's saying, that could be something that engineering department can look at.
How long will that take us?
I'm gonna say, I don't think it would take us very long, but our current turnaround time with the state police, I don't know if you have this in place for this summer. We're seeing very long times on like, the thing guys doing your speed studies and different things like that.
I don't think they need to do a speed study. You may want to.
It's the same officer that does the speed
Oh.
studies and all that stuff, so this is gonna rank very low on his priority. Joey might be able to speak a little bit to this. The turnaround time with the state police is a couple months.
Yeah, and on those kinds of studies, it's been really slow. I don't know if something that's a temporary traffic control
Yeah.
order, he would move faster because it's temporary.
It's gonna be trained. He also does, any fatal accidents, within northern Michigan that takes top priority, then he studies and these kind of things. I think really unfortunately, there's so many fatals that takes up most of his time. That's why a lot of our speed studies never, to get them.
are not getting done.
Right.
We're trying to eliminate those forms. We have less fatalities.
A good example, I think we're still waiting to hear back on Lafreniere Road, aren't we, Joe? And that's been over a year, maybe, around a year now.
Yeah.
We put in for that one. And that's, I mean, we got Beta there, we got all the apartments and all that, that's
I've
pretty
been
high
waiting,
priority.
I've been
one.
waiting almost
That
5
we
months.
were.
now.
This isn't just a sign off. I mean,
Yeah, and unfortunately, it has to be, requires us to act jointly with the MSP.
If the
Can't
town,
do that when they do it.
if the township does an ordinance, we can do it the next day.
That probably is, to be
The
honest.
signs are up already. That's the funny part.
Yeah,
that's,
The signs were put up by somebody 15, 20 years ago. Problem is there's no traffic control order for them, so we write a ticket for it, or we don't. Somebody in law enforcement writes a ticket for violating the sign.
yeah.
The ticket gets thrown out because there's no traffic control order or police power ordinance.
I thought the township needed the study in order to have the ordinance go into effect. I thought there was that conjunction that, I mean, the township can just unilaterally pass
For the
an
parking,
ordinance.
for parking, yeah.
They can,
Yeah.
they don't,
the township,
Yeah, because of, yeah, the township does.
okay,
but
because you have signs up already, but you just don't have the enforcement.
We have no ability to enforce it.
it's in that state.
Ideally, Michigan State Police would have the ability to, but they don't. If we might, correct me if I'm wrong. If we do a police power ordinance, only the county sheriff, not the
If you
state.
don't have
police.
a-
Good enough for you. I mean, that's good.
So if they pass the ordinance, then county could.
Yeah.
But not MSP, because doesn't that
Right.
require the additional step? That's what I understood. This is like people parking on the road for.
You want us to
Primarily.
Put it in motion.
put it in a motion that we will do something and send it on? What?
I mean, if, look, we can, but if what Dan is saying is gonna take them, it won't get put in there until past summer, then that doesn't
It's like June to
resolve
September for the.
Green Lake Township's issue.
We're open the whole time because
Yeah.
there are other issues that will do.
They might move faster getting a police power, parking ordinance done faster than
And just
that.
getting the sheriff's department.
Yeah, then getting the sheriff's department to write tickets.
I think we're sympathetic and feel somewhat handicapped.
Oh, trust me, I'm in government. I
About
understand the
this, but
handicap.
this is not,
Yeah, we would,
but this is not within our control. And if it were, we would act.
yeah, because apparently for.
Would motion from us supporting your.
I would like to move, or the other thing we would like, if you can't do the police power ordinance, or the temporary traffic control order, we would like a motion of support. That way, if we need to put additional signs in, we can reach out to your staff. I believe it's $150 we have to pay. There may be a couple needed put in, because they're going in your right away, not our right of way. So ideally, we get it, you could wave your magic wand, get Biter Road open back up and, get us a temporary traffic control order. It sounds like they're gonna move about the same speed. Cause, government.
So
I don't think I have any problems with having our staff help Green Lake Township install the signs if they pass a police power ordinance.
Okay.
If there's signs up, why can't you just put up like barricades or cones or barriers just blocking off?
Because I can't put things in the road right away.
Yeah.
We're not the road commission.
I know, that's my point. Like, isn't that,
But those signs, if they for example, tow someone.
well, I was saying block it so they couldn't park there. And if our right of way is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you can put barricades, I guess, but I don't know how safe that is.
That we're trying to keep the cars out of the road so vehicles can get off to the side.
Yeah,
We need
Yeah, but barricades would take up.
So I make a motion that the Grand Traverse County Road Commission supports Green Lake Township's temporary parking ordinance.
I don't know if it will be a temporary, would you be a temporary ordinance?
I know two of us want it temporary, one of us wants it permanent, so that'll
We'll
get a
support
big
their ordinance, basically.
I'll support the ordinance.
and allow additional signs in the road right away as necessary, if you would.
Yes, I'll support Commissioner Underwood's motion to support the township's ordinance to prohibit parking on a temporary basis and install parking signs, no parking signs.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you guys very much. Good
Thank
luck
you.
on your storm recovery.
All right, let's try to get to the consent calendar. You got that?
Consent calendar is used to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together without discussion. Request by any person present to remove any item from the consent calendar for full discussion as an agenda item are automatically respected. The action noted in parentheses for all items remaining on the consent calendar are approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. The manager recommends the following items be adopted. 1, minutes. 2, payroll. 3, accounts payable. 4, financial reports, and 5, communications.
Okay, does anyone remove anything from the consent account? Does any member of the public want us to remove anything from the consent account? If that's the case, then, how about motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Support. And we got a roll call.
Gilman,
Yes.
Chasm,
Yes.
Corn,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes. Managers report.
Dan's had a slow week.
Just want to remind everybody that the MTA annual meeting that we host to be May 7th. That's gonna be at Long Lake Township. Summer schedule is about to start. We're adding local 410. That'll start on 5/4. Couple exciting things. Michelle Baldwin came on full time as our human resources.
Interrupted. Did the commissioner know our office, the app is also going next month on 4 day.
Well, someone,
Our hours that
Summer
they're going to be.
Okay, sure.
You didn't tell me the date, or maybe you hadn't picked a date, but we talked about it and at some point here next month.
Sure.
You're going to do a 4 day. You're not. You're no way. The staff. The staff could in theory.
Yeah.
Do a 4 day work week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll get that posted all over the place so everybody knows what our current hours are. So definitely excited to have Michelle on full time. We did hire a county highway engineer. He accepted the job. Start date to be determined yet. We know it's gonna be probably sometime in May. He's finishing up his physicals and all that kind of stuff. So the goal is to have him on board before June. I have a new GIS coordinator starting on 4/27. He has great background, great experience. Even has some engineering tech experience, so he'll really be able to talk our lingo. So very excited to see him come on. And then wanted to show everybody the rendering of Frankie Road,
Yeah.
getting very close on Frankie Road. That will be out to bid here in May. So we through that in the packet there. And then one other thing I wanted to have Larry just show real quickly what we've been working on with the storm damage. We have all of our, anywhere there's water crossing culverts, bridges, we've been out and inspected those. Anywhere we have issues, we went out and captured that data. So Larry had all that. Just kind of wanted to show everybody how we're doing that, what the workflow looks like.
All right, so what we did was, let me share this with you real quick. It's not sharing on my other screen here. Hold on. Yeah. So what we're doing is, first off, we went out and had a couple guys with, well, we had a lot of guys out with tablets. And what they did was they went out and they inspected basically any river crossing culverts or anything like that that might be an issue. And on their way, they may have seen some washouts or anything like that. So they put a point on the map, they create a service request. The foreman look it over and they decide whether it's work or not. Then they create a work order. So then that work order comes back to us and then we divvy it up between our site leads. And then we just try to make it so we're efficient with our equipment, with material, and with our labor. So this is kind of what it looks like. Right now, we've divvied up some of these work orders to contractors. And then we've divvied up some of these, well, the rest of them to our crews. So we'll have things like washouts. We've had a lot of washouts. We've had A lot of undermining of our asphalt roads, extreme amounts of undermining. We've had areas where water was over the road for a long period of time and then let loose later in the day, or later in the week. So it was just a lot of, once that water had receded, we were able to see much more. But the majority of it is in grading and washouts and culvert restoration. We've had culverts fail on us, or sinkholes in the road. We have a very large sinkhole over by Sawyer Road, which has closed down that road until we can get that fixed. We've had a big washout on Marsh Road as well, that are road closures. So I guess we just wanted to show you this and let everybody know, and this is for the public as well, that we're aware. They've used our citizen reporter, that once they put a point on the map, it goes directly to our foreman so that they can create those work orders and get things fixed. So once that happens, it gets on our list, and we basically have worked our way through about half that list already. So there's about 130, I'd say, work orders that we need to do. I would say about 6 should probably be contractor, but the rest we've been handling in-house. And like I said, we're about halfway through right now. So that's kind of the work that we're doing right now.
There's about 76 work orders, I think, best be looked.
I think
From the storm that we've already completed.
76, and that's great.
Yeah.
The sinkhole on Sawyer, is that a collapse of the underneath? Is that the collapse of the culvert underneath?
We believe so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's gonna have to be a replacement then.
It will be. Yep. And we'll talk about that later tonight. We have a Sawyer and then Mark are two that we need to get approval from you guys to make corrections to, because
Absolutely.
it's too deep for us and we are much more efficient doing other things.
Sure.
And so that one's gonna go to a contractor.
Plenty of work to go around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, it's just a matter of time for us to get out to individuals. Because like I said, when people put in the point, they're expecting something to be done, but it just takes a little bit of time for us to get out there. So right now we're putting together pictures and things like that, kind of a montage of the things that we're working on. But like I said, the majority of them are big gullies on the side of the road, or the big things were the undermining, because without gravel underneath the asphalt, it would be a struggle to keep that asphalt in place, and then also dangerous. So we're trying to prioritize each individual work order so that we hit the dangerous ones first.
How many of these washouts have been reported? You said you've already addressed 76 of them.
Yeah, altogether, we're looking at probably around 150 that were actual ones we need to get to. And, but again, there's still some roads that have water on them, believe it or not. So,
Can't believe that. Just can't believe that.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Why don't we go to E?
I have a question on the staff report.
Sure.
It just, on Frankie Road, it said that GBCRC staff is reviewing 80% plans. Can you just tell me what that means? 80% plans?
Sure. So for the final plans are submitted, there's like 8%. That's one of your goals, one of your end goals there. And they submit it to staff, and we can go through and review those and make sure they're on track of completing the project that we want to, the 8% mark. So you got that just last 20% of final design until the project's ready to go off the bid.
So there's still 20% of the final design left to do?
No, they're closer than that, but there's not a, 85%, or it's usually, it's the goal mark to hit the 80%, and then you complete to the 100.
It's 80 and then it's done.
Yes.
This part of this TCAP's deciding where the crosswalk should be at.
So, yeah, if you look at,
Picture of what it's gonna look like.
But
Did they decide where it was gonna go yet or no?
yes, that's, we worked with, it's mostly that's Garfield Township sidewalk.
Okay.
Like, let's say TCAPS doesn't really have a say necessarily going. We talk with them, we work with them, we try to make sure that's a place that works good for them.
Okay.
But mostly Garfield Township that we're working on that.
And they're pretty sure they want.
It's a place off of engineering design that makes the best sense. The problem with Frankie Road is you have so many things going on there, with the Meyer store being there and the school being so close, and that's where one of our loading docks are. You have to have a semi truck be able to swing in there. So when you put those refuge islands in there, you can't get a semi truck in necessarily with the refuge island. Then you have to have enough so cars can waiting to turn in there and not block the roads, stacks up. Then you have the subdivision there with the residents where you want to do some traffic calming there, which you put maybe in there that the residents can't turn into the subdivision. So it's really kind of a complicated small section of road that took a lot of time to design that really shouldn't have. But there's just so much going on in that little area, trying to make it work best for everybody.
So is the Frankie Road design taking into account that particular section of the road has semi-traffic? And the reason I'm asking that is that, as we have seen at our roundabouts, routinely, we have semis running over and knocking down signs, chevrons, whatever they are, right? Because Frankie Road is not a terribly wide road. And if we are going to put islands and things like that, and signage, is there a risk that semi-traffic turning onto Frankie Road can knock down some of these structures?
So when you do these models, you actually put like vehicles in their semis with their turning radiuses and what they can do. And they make those, even our roundabouts, they can make our trucks go through there all the time with no issues. The roundabout's actually designed to be driven up on with their, I would say you have
curb ramps up.
curb ramps,
Yeah.
yes. It's supposed to be that way. I would say, yes, you're probably gonna hit signs because I don't know everybody out there is a perfectly skilled truck driver.
No, I understand
Yeah.
that. I'm just saying.
It's meeting design standards. They should
Yeah.
be able to clear them, but I would say you're probably still gonna hit signs. Haley, I know right now, and Jason, I can't remember how many signs they were. It was
Oh, yeah, I saw in the report.
well over 100 last we knew, right? That were hit recently over the winter. Just,
Thank you.
So, sorry,
I had a question about the crosswalks too. Okay. When you look at, I understand it's just a mock-up. I get that. But it shows that the crosswalk crosses the pedestrian island, which I think logically makes the most sense. But should we not assume that these two islands that we see in the design are going to be the site of the crosswalk then? It could be somewhere else. Is that?
no, they're on the top there. You can see those are actually the locations of placement for it. I should be clear that that's just a rendering of what it could look like.
Right.
We don't put in
Right.
crosswalks and
No.
sidewalks and stuff. What we did is we set them up for success to be able to do that.
So it would go where there would be two?
Yeah.
Two, okay.
there could,
There could be two.
No, there is two.
no, I know there's two refuge islands, but
Yeah.
if they put one in,
Crosswalk,
maybe they
right,
won't.
right.
We set it up so they could make those crossings.
Yeah.
But Garfield Township or whatever, they could decide to put them somewhere not on an island is what they're saying.
I don't.
But they wouldn't. Okay. Okay,
That's
so
the
this is, well, it's been a really serious discussion, I know. So I had a school board member contact me just kind of talking about this and I didn't have enough information. So I wanted to be able to make sure that I could share with her the best information there. They have other issues beyond Frankie Road with the Montessori and the parent drop off and other things that they're taking into consideration.
That's something else, Dan, you mentioned to me when we talked about that, the parent drop off lane. There's some mechanics to that
Yeah.
don't work. If there's a lot going on in a small space, think a little bitty road, but a lot of conflicts.
Yeah. There's a lot of, obviously the semis are another issue. The flooding is another issue there. Not only the subdivision, but the across the street, which is city parkland, floods. It's very swampy. So there's other issues, as well. So, okay, but we do think that you guys have engineered it so that when they make a decision as to where they want the crosswalk or crosswalks to be, it's kind of set up for that.
Yeah, we've set everybody up for success.
Awesome. Those are the words I need. Thank you.
Item E, Act 51 resolution. Chris, smiling.
Yeah, I make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-04-03 amendment to Act 51 road mileage of 2025.
Support. Is there any further discussion? Do we have, with this resolution, we need a roll call?
Yes.
This
Chasm,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes. All right. F, the MS4 permit policy resolution.
This is also me as a part of our MS4 application that's required now that we're an MPO. Typically, if we had the authority to draft a ordinance, we would be required to do that. Since we don't have that authority, what is required of us for that MS4 permit is to draft a policy. So the two policies in front of you here, the illicit discharge elimination policy and the post-construction control administrative procedure policies reflect what Eagle requires for MS4. Basically what it is there is for the post-construction control procedure, we will, as a part of our permitting process, ensure that the permittees are following the appropriate procedure for the control of stormwater from their properties. And it's essentially just going to make a couple of items to check for our permit techs to ensure that they're following their SESE measures or any of the measures that are in place by the townships themselves. And then it will require a little bit of coordination just at the beginning to make sure that we're familiar with what policies the townships have in place so that we can check that off. And then the illicit discharge elimination policy is a policy so that our staff, when we notice an illicit discharge, so that would be like pumping some kind of water out into the right of way that is not just rainwater, or dumping something into a municipal stormwater system that would reach the waters of the state. When we see that, there's some training to recognize that is an illicit discharge and report that to the appropriate authority or take what action we have with regard to available to us with regard to that right away.
And Chris, these policies are specific to stormwater discharges into our MS4, right?
Yes.
See, that's why we are required to have these. We are required to obtain an NPDES permit. As part of that permit, we are required to treat the stormwater and have control measures in there, monitor and report them, and as part of that permitting process.
Yeah, the MS4 municipal stormwater permitting that we've got to go through has many more parts than just these two here, but these are the most recent portion of it that we're working through.
So in other words, it's a federal regulation requirement. We don't really have an option other than to adopt these policies.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 2026-04-05.
Support.
Is there any further discussion? All right, Kylie, please.
Horn,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Chasm,
Yes.
Lehman.
Isn't MS4 like the Secret Service in the United Kingdom or something?
And MI6.
But it could be. Every time I hear this, I'm like,
MS13. You might be talking about MS13.
You're playing dumb with the secret agents.
That is a completely different. That's a completely.
Every time I hear that, I think, da da da.
G, heavy maintenance.
We refer to this as heavy maintenance. What this is we've got some traffic signals out there that have some heads and some wiring that have been hanging out there for long beyond their expected lifespan. And this is a contract to have someone come in and assist us with replacing those outdated heads and the wire associated with them. This is to be at 4 different locations throughout the county. We received bids from both J-Rank Incorporated and Windmuller Electric. Windmuller Electric was the low bid at $93,150, and we recommend award of the contract to Windmuller Electric.
Okay, let's do that.
We got the 5.
Yeah, I was looking down on the.
Yeah, I was trying to find. Do you know which one?
The location.
Location. Yeah.
The locations are Zimmerman and North Long Lake Road.
Oh,
Okay.
Zimmerman and I'm gonna draw a blank. Cedar Run.
Zimmerman and Cedar Run?
No, not Cedar.
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake, thank
Silver
you.
Lake, okay.
Those folks.
That like works really good right now. Do not mess with that.
We're just replacing the signal heads and the wires. We want to make sure it keeps working good.
Yes.
Um,
That's the one light. Like,
Right over here at Park and South Airport,
Okay,
and then over at 5 Mile and Holiday.
okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I would make the motion that we accept the bid for $93,150 for the heavy maintenance program.
I'll support.
or any other discussion? Please roll that.
Underwood.
Yeah.
Gilman,
Yes.
Chasm,
Yes,
Horn, Lehman.
Yes. Okay. How about the new H, the old I, Keystone and Brimley signal modulation?
oh, wow. Okay.
So the Keystone and Brimley Road traffic signal is outdated. It's beyond its expected lifespan. Back in 2024, we had HRC begin design on the modernization of that project for us with the intent that that would be a 2025 project. It was being designed in coordination with that Herkner and North Long Lake intersection that got held up with some right-of-way issues. So it was not constructed last year. We have put it out to bid this year. We received one bid back that is from J-Rank Electric. The bid amount was $558,405.80.
And your estimate was 410 or so.
411.
The estimate that was prepared for us was $411,000.
It's too much. That's what I
75.
said. Yeah, we put it fairly.
Dan, do you want to speak to did everybody get the memo
Yeah.
that I got that said it's
Yes,
it's necessary?
Yeah,
It's necessary.
it's necessary. It's necessary, but the difference is too much.
I don't think we hardly need to discuss that. We will agree that it's necessary and we'd like to find a different.
I don't know. I don't know that I don't, I mean,
You just want to go with it?
I know I saw the warrants, just 4 of the 9 that were met. And it says theoretically, one of the warrants can support
Right.
the placement, but quite honestly, you know, something doesn't jive. It doesn't have to be a complicated light. As far as I'm concerned, you could hang a single, small town light there and make it work, and it wouldn't cost us nearly what this is. Obviously, the engineering has certain requirements now that just we're not allowed to do it the way that we might have done it once upon a time, but
We don't like it for 550.
I don't like it
We
for
we
550.
definitely don't like.
We
it.
agree with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I noticed, Pat, I drive that all the time. I think it really is an impediment to traffic
It
flow
is.
between the roundabout, which works great at Cass, and is really taking a heavy load right now, and then Hammond. But if we're required to have it, let's. The only other thing else we can do is not let Brimley Road go through anymore. Stop it shy of the railroad tracks and put something else in there. And I think people take shortcuts there. The longer the light is there, since the light is there, they know they can get through. If they couldn't get through, they'd stay on Hammond, which was designed for the traffic. It's just a thought. Otherwise, we're going to have to get some signal on there. Dan gave me a wonderful tool of the basement earlier in the week. And Haley's workspace, which is very impressive. And she talked about it and he talked about it. She goes over there all the time. That one's a junker.
Yeah.
So aren't most of our lights intersections are running about $500,000?
Yes.
So
How about that?
while we estimated less, it's coming in at roughly what they're all been costing us anyway, correct?
Roughly, yeah.
Be honest.
Yes.
Okay.
So then why is
One-
the estimate less?
So this one was designed back in 2025.
That's what I was just gonna ask you too.
And was intended for 2025. Unfortunately, with the rain this week, I didn't get a chance to do the full comparison that I normally would do. These bids came back on Wednesday last week while we're out chasing flood damage and trying to keep things moving. So I have not had the chance to check to see if the engineer's estimate was with 2025 prices, but I suspect that that is the case. The engineers that designed the project for us provide us the estimate.
Well,
The pricing that we've received from J Rank Electric here for similar work over there on the modernization as far as signal heads and wire was very close with the low bid estimate from Windmuller. So it is fairly likely that had there been another contractor, we probably would have seen pricing from them equal to that. This signal, although it's not as big as some of the other ones in the system, does have some requirements that are there because of the railroad. Railroad requires that we have a battery backup system on that. It might be a system that we would omit on a different one, but that's a rather costly system, nearly $30,000 system. And that is so that if there's a power failure, the signal can still operate and ensure that it stops people from stopping on the tracks. And that is definitely part of the cost of that project.
So have we?
But that would have been included in the engineers.
That is definitely included in the estimate. But
Have we purchased any signals in 2026?
we have not.
Okay, so we are basing our estimate that signals cost, our engineer's estimate was based on 2025 prices, which was 411. But we are saying that in 2026, even though we have not purchased any signals, that the 558 is in line with 2026 prices. I'm not sure how we are getting there.
I'm making that assertion based off the fact that the project to replace signal heads and wiring, both contractors that provided bids on that are very close in their price.
Is there a reason why Windmuller didn't submit a bid?
They're not qualified to do the underground work that's involved in the modernization. They're putting foundations in and the conduit under the railroad, and J Rank Electric is. They're qualified for all the overhead.
It's that's the same price of Parsons, isn't it?
As a
Yeah.
crossing at the grade and everything, isn't there any kind of mechanism where we can recover from MDOT the expenses for overcost as a result of it being their railroad?
Not that I'm aware of. Most of the time you run across railroad folks, their right of way supersedes ours, and in their opinion, we're encroaching on their land and we bear all costs for it in the same way that anyone that wants to encroach.
I'm reaching here, I'm just trying to.
That's true.
You're welcome.
All right, what's the board's pleasure on this?
I come from the public safety part of it, and I know it's a tremendous amount of cost, but it has to be done, especially now because it's going to be used heavily through this year. It's always used heavily, but it's actually going to be heavily this year.
Maybe the modernization shouldn't be this year then because it's so heavily used. Be my criterion. If Joe, if you why don't you make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and accept the bid for $558,405.80 from, sorry, I forgot the name. J Rank to do the modernization of Burnley.
And you have this on here that is more to discuss. We didn't really get a recommendation because we're just not so sure. Right?
If it's so
that's his motion.
That's my motion.
I'll support it. Could I have a minute just to ask some questions? I haven't had a chance to.
Yeah,
I
want to discuss it.
The first thing was, I mean, it made sense to me in supporting it because it was supposed to be done last year. All you have to do is go to the grocery store and we know how much things cost different from last year. This is not surprising to me. The engineer's estimate was based on that. I don't think we can do a country bumpkin kind of light because of two things. First of all, MDOT rail. And the second is this is a major corridor and artery that's all messed up because of Beitner being out this year. And the soccer fields, like I was fine with all that, but I guess, and I also know that until I served as a road commissioner, I have no idea how much traffic lights cost. Like the $500,000 thing is like mind blowing to me. And I think when people just haphazard, they're like, they need to put a light there. They got to do this. It's like, you know, you put in 2 lights, it's $1 million. So So that part didn't bother me. I guess my question would be, if we chose to not do this, there's a couple of issues. First of all, the safety issue. I mean, the warrants have been met and it's outdated. But, would it be fair to estimate that if this was the jump in cost between 1 year, if we delayed it another year, that we could potentially see another significant change in cost?
There is potential.
Yeah.
I mean, we may see costs come down. We may see them go up. I mean, typically they trend up, but I can't say for certain which way it would go, but there's always potential for a change in cost.
So if we did go through with this and did this project, how long of a time period would it take to do the project?
Construction of the project? Similar scope ones are able to be done in about 5 weeks, typically with minimal impact to traffic. You work on the quadrant that you need to and move around the outside edge with shoulder closers and occasional lane closures or lane shifts.
I'm hesitant to do any project on the Keystone area, this summer. Unless if it's,
Actually, I think it'd be better right now.
I don't know, unless if it's a safety issue, because everybody's cutting across on Hope and I don't know. I trust your opinion on that is what I'm saying. Is this a good idea?
That's an unfair question.
No, I'm not.
You're presenting what
I really do respect his opinion. And there's another guy, I'm going to ask his opinion too. I think we should get more information. I don't think we have enough information. Like, we're talking about a road that's absolutely decimated right now, that already is going to have traffic issues. And now we're talking about a 5-week signal modernization. I don't know what.
So I would say that typically Beitner Road there, and then as it transitions over and becomes Keystone over in this area, experiences close to 18,000 cars per day. The majority of that 18,000 cars per day do traverse through where there used to be a bridge. I can't say with 100% certainty right now where those vehicles are choosing to self-detour, if that is to continue down that stretch and hit the roundabout and go across Hartman, or to take South Airport Road. Anecdotally, from having been out continuing to check our areas along the Boardman corridor, it appears that majority of them are choosing to take Airport, and that Beitner is a little less busy than it normally is. And so I think it may be advantageous to try and do that now, but I don't have any numbers to back that up. That is entirely anecdotal.
I'm just asking opinion. And I just wondered from Joe too, if you're sitting there hearing this, is this a conversation that looks like it's heading in a bad direction from an engineer's point of view based on the shutdown that we have?
Ideally, this would be on the other side of the Beitner Bridge, but fortunately it's not. Like Chris has said, when these projects are done, you're working in quadrants, and it's one quadrant at a time. It's fairly minimal traffic impact with some lane shifts to get out if you need to. I don't believe there's 88 ramps on this one, so there's no curb work or asphalt work that goes on with this one. As far as like the signal functioning, when you're building the new one, the old one runs the whole time, and then you decommission the old one after the new one's up and running. So there won't be a period of time where there's no signal, like 3 Mile Road.
Right. Okay.
So it's not like that. As far as getting it done, when I looked at the bid tabs that were in the board packet, the heavy maintenance items were 22% high from the engineer's estimate. This one was 26% high. It's kind of across the board. You're seeing it with both of them, with 2 different contractors. So
Our revenues aren't up 26%.
yeah. As far as the impact to traffic, as the road sits now, I actually drove through there on my way here today just to see how the temp signal was functioning at Hartman, and it's a little bit of backup with that light, but I don't think it's going to experience any significant traffic from what it does in a normal season.
I think
Mr. Kelly.
I'm not disputing the necessity of this traffic light, because the engineer's report that talks about keeping this traffic light is not simply based upon it meeting the warrants, it actually says that it also applies engineering judgment on top of that. The warrant requirement, as I read it, was that if it doesn't meet any warrants, you don't need a light there. But simply because it meets some warrants doesn't mean you have to put a light there. And then you apply the engineering judgment. So it's a combination of this traffic light meeting 4 warrants and the engineer applying their judgment to make a recommendation that the light could be kept. So I'm going to rely upon that report to say that the light is needed. Where I am disagreeing is on the cost. I don't know why only one company vendor submitted a bid on it. My preference would be that we rebid it out and solicit more vendors that are qualified to do this type of a work and see if we can get a better price. If at the end of the day, this is the best price we can get, then so be it. I'm not proposing that we delay it another year or anything like that. As far as the impact to traffic, the traffic on this portion of Keystone Road is going to be the same. It's not affected by Beitner. What the road that's getting affected by Beitner is Hartman Road. That's where the traffic is. I'm sorry, that Cass Road and Hartman Road. That's where the traffic is going. It's going through this portion of Keystone and turning instead of going straight, turning on Cass and then taking Hartman. So I'm not as concerned about the impact on traffic if we have to replace the right lights. In the summer season, all these corridors are busy. We saw the Herkner Road intersection that was, there was some minimal disruption. So I don't believe that that's going to be that much disruption. My main concern here is the price. If it's $500,000, it's $500,000, but it seems like that at this time, to me, it's anecdotal. We have not purchased any traffic lights in 2026. We are making an assumption that based upon the price is going up across the board for all the items, that the price jumped from $411 to $558. Maybe so, but let's just test that by bidding it out and see if we can get some more vendors to bid for this. So that's where I am.
Okay, Commissioner Gilman, do you have anything to say about this? Well, a couple things. I guess some questions. I'm looking right here. I'm trying to figure out if it is. Do we have pedestrian components involved in this design?
No, not at this intersection.
Okay, that I did hear that. I apologize.
I don't think 1 year to the next necessitates a price increase or a decrease or anything. I think there was one bidder that came in where it paid for them to be busy when they're probably already busy. That doesn't do us any good service. We need to have more than one bidder on a project like this. It's significant enough. The other thing, we're going to be talking about funding and repairing and replacing culverts and road sections and whatnot. Honestly, who knows what FEMA is going to help us with, if anything at all. And right now, I think when you've got something that, it might be working, and maybe we have to repair it once a month or however. I think let's keep repairing it. I mean, if it's working now, frankly, I think we should be flashing most of the time anyway. But that's a whole nother argument. I don't buy into the warrants nearly as much. I just don't see the traffic. I go by there often enough. I don't see the traffic that the warrants call for, the light. I can't, at this time, I can't pay close to $600,000 for something that isn't absolutely necessary. Okay, I mean, I want that money. We want to move forward. We want to incentivize the Beitner Bridge movement. We want to incentivize, Sawyer Road out in Grand. I mean, we have to get that replaced. There's a lot of traffic that goes through there, and it's driving traffic on other roads that are now getting destroyed. So I think we try to piece back as much as we can to get traffic normal again before we start spending $600,000 a month. A light that isn't necessary.
I asked for a motion because I thought we'd do this. So now we've all talked about it a lot. Do we want to vote? Do we need to vote on it or?
There is a motion and it's been
Yeah,
supported.
you got it.
So we have to
Go
vote.
for it.
We have to vote on it.
Okay, and then we can have another motion on the same subject. if this-
We can, sure.
Okay, so let's vote.
Okay, I'm voting no because I think the last thing that people we represent on that part of town want to come across is a construction project in the middle of everything else. So I don't know.
Well, I think.
You gotta call it.
No, it's not a resolution, is it?
No, but we have talked about all
Oh,
Money, so you
okay.
gotta turn it down.
We have.
Well, I'm going no. No.
Whatever order it is.
I don't want to get an email about it. Now you're messing with hope or, this road. I don't.
Kyle, please.
Gilman,
Yeah, no.
Hanson,
No,
Horn,
It's a no.
Underwood,
I'll get the emails because I'm a yes.
Oh,
Lehman.
And I'm a no.
give them to Joe.
He made the motion.
Now,
You can vote
would
no.
you like them to bid it again?
I make a motion that the traffic signal, modernization be submitted for a rebate.
That's support that. Can't go wrong with somebody else. Yeah. The design is there.
Commissioner Underwood?
I have a hard time when we have an open bid from a vendor and then we rebid it because everybody knows publicly what that one vendor has now bid. And so now I can give you a bid of $550,000. Come in under.
We don't,
We should have rejected the bid before it became public.
We have done that.
It's happening.
We have done that.
We have done it before and every time it's like we have put those bidders in an unfair situation because their bid is now public.
I think at 410, our engineer's estimate, we would have accepted it. And at this price, they take that risk.
They can-
Yeah,
they submit it. They
And
can resubmit their
we're
bid.
not gonna allow somebody to snipe them.
But I mean,
If somebody comes in at $557,000, that's not right. We should vote that down.
I will vote for this, but the issue over there is not just the roads, it's not just the construction, it's that we have large number of children that play soccer in large amounts on the weekend. And we have asked that organization to exit out on Burnley. And if we don't have a light there and it stops working, we've created a problem.
But we do have a light. It's not like the light has broken down and it's not
And if it's
working.
20% more next year when we do it, if I'm on the board again, I will remind you all. So
Okay,
it's not
and
5 months.
we will, but we're
they're not-
motion and support right now are to bid it again.
Yeah, and we're having a discussion on that motion, and again, I don't understand why we are going into 2027. It's to rebid, whatever the bid comes in, if it's that, we will approve it. It's just to give it another shot, to see if we can get the vendor. I think
I
that
agree.
this doom and gloom thing is kind of unnecessary at this point.
Okay, we don't need a roll call on this, right?
No,
Okay, let's, all in favor of rebidding this, say yes.
aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I don't think. All right, survey equipment upgrades.
We've got a couple of survey units that we purchased back in 2016. They are getting near the end of their useful lifespan to us. There are pieces of equipment available that make our job much more efficient, much safer, and much faster. And we would like to upgrade the old units with a couple of new units. And this is part of the My Deal pricing. And we, as a part of this quote, will turn the old units back in for a credit towards the new purchase. Staff recommends approval of the proposal from Leica Geosystems to supply GNSS rovers to us for $38,573.24.
Let's get those bought.
Yeah, tools are everything.
I'll make the motion to approve the bid received from Leica Geosystems for survey equipment in the amount of $38,573.24.
Supported.
We have motion support. Let's vote.
Hanson,
Yes.
Corn,
Yes.
Underwood.
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes. Okay. How about as needed engineering services? J.
As needed engineering services. As you know, our staff is rather small. There are projects that we need to do that are outside the scope of our expertise, so we need consultants to help provide us the services there that we need in order to keep things moving. We put these out in the past. Really, the intent here is to have the agreements in place with the consultants that provide these services so that when we need these services, we can reach right out to them. All of these firms now have lawyers on staff that have terms and conditions, same as we have terms and conditions, and it really slows the process down to not already have an approved agreement in place with a couple of firms that are certified, pre-qualified, to provide the services that we're requesting. And so what I'm requesting here is approval to enter into agreements with these firms for them to provide service. No specific service yet, no expenditure costs, but approval to enter in agreements with these firms for them to provide engineering services to the road commission.
This is to the degree that you are authorized to.
And anything that would be beyond that, we would get a price from them, make sure that it was available and present it to the board.
I'd make the motion to support staff recommendation for as needed engineering services.
I'll support.
So this is an observation, the recommended as needed firms. We do this once every year, right? I think we did it in.
The last time we did it was 2024.
Do we do that every 2 years then?
Yeah,
I thought we did that last year too.
it is written in there that there is the option to extend if both parties agree, for up to 2 additional years. Last time we did it was 2024. There was never a formal extension of the agreement that was done in 2024 for them to continue providing services into 2026. So we put an RFP out again.
So these agreements are for a term of 2 years.
There for one to start, unless the parties agree to extend.
Okay, and it seems to me, based upon my recollection, that, and I've been on this board since 2022, that we always have the same firms ranked in this order. And I understand that we do go through the RFP process and this is based upon qualifications, but how much weight is being placed on existing relationships when making these decisions?
That is one of the factors that is rated.
Right. But how much weight is being placed on it?
If you do it just.
Sure.
My discussion point while we're waiting for Chris, this is, we have finally hired the staff engineer. Does this in any way limit his ability? We're thrilled to get somebody on board. Should we, I was thinking we should wait on this till he's aboard and let him be part of the judging process.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because maybe that, first of all, is that engineer that we're about, is that person local? Is he from
Ingham County area?
Lansing area? Okay. Yeah, I think we should kind of defer to the county engineer coming in.
I can withdraw.
I'm happy with
that. We could do that.
Okay, let's.
If I may,
sure.
I am also in favor of that and considered that myself. However, there are a couple of projects that are set to start that I need to be able to get a firm on board with. I suppose I can go ahead and reach out to them regarding that specific item, and bring that back to you. But
yeah, we can do
one of the most ongoing things, and this is something that we do every year, is our materials testing services.
Why don't you do that? Just get them back to us. And if you want them now.
And materials testing services, one of those items that has been and as needed. The densities for projects have to be done. There is absolutely no way that the consultant firm can tell you how much they are going to have to expend to do that. The testing that we're required to provide for MDOT, for our materials as we construct these projects is really kind of dependent on the contractor's schedule. There are tests that have to be performed at certain intervals. If the contractor doesn't meet that interval that day, or they only meet a couple and then the work drags out, I have to have someone there. We have to provide that testing. If we don't have that on file, we put our federal funds in jeopardy.
How about we approve the materials testing section of this?
That would
If I
be,
may real quick. I would urge the board to approve this. I think it's gonna take Neil a while to get on board and up to speed. We are severely understaffed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hear constantly from the government, not getting projects done fast enough and it's possible. And we are in need of the bail.
Okay, and you don't feel this will, when Neil comes in, if he wants to change this, we're not handy.
Yeah,
handy.
he's gonna be making the recommendations anyway.
I would,
So,
Chris has done an excellent job and I go off his recommendations. I would suggest that we do it again in a year. We don't extend it. And Neil has his, feet under him at that time. And then he can help with that.
Probably all good with that too.
yeah, I just, once Chris gets the answer to the question, I'm fine with that. Yeah, because once we enter into this agreement, it's not like.
we don't have to use any
Yeah.
specific, I mean,
Yeah,
that just allows it.
this is just rated this way.
I do have that now.
Sure.
The past working relationship with the owner, construction manager, consultant, as 15% of the overall weight of the rate.
And the rest is what?
Understanding of the scope of services, experience on Grand Traverse County projects, clarity and completeness of the proposal, experience with similar type projects, qualifications, experience and communication skills of the project manager, reputation of the consulting firm, quality of the work based on references, commitment to meeting the staffing needs, and the proximity and availability of personnel.
Okay.
Do you want a copy of this?
I do want a copy.
Would you
Would
provide
you be
one,
able to
Chris?
Sure.
provide a copy? Thank you, Chris. Okay.
So would you like a motion that we accept,
I think that's what we need to do.
I'll make a motion that we accept the recommended as needed. Sorry, just what we hopped up on here. As needed firms for a period of 12 months.
Support.
We've discussed this enough. Let's vote. Oh, can we just say all in favor?
Yes.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
That's it. Stand in.
let's get this done.
I'll make the motion to accept Bristol Aggregate Materials bid for 2026 sand.
Second. Any further discussion? Okay, we have to call roll on this.
Warren?
Yeah.
Underwood?
Yes.
Gilman?
Yes.
Chasm?
Yes.
Lehman?
Yes. Zimmerman Road Extension.
So I know this has been a topic of discussion recently. So since that is not actually a roadway, we need the board to pass a resolution saying that we can start to spend funds to look into this and probably do some studies and other things.
So I will make the motion to approve resolution 2026-04-04, authorization of engineering and design services for the Zimmerman Road extension.
And I'll second that.
So I have significant concerns about this resolution, and I know you have been championing this project. I think that prior to the flooding events that we had, we had been discussing this project, and this was a priority, one of the priority projects for us in improving our capacity and ventilation system. I think since the flooding event, I feel the need that we need to reprioritize some of our projects. And specifically, what I'm talking about is South Airport Road and Logan's Landing. We just cannot afford to have a major artery in our east-west corridor shut down for any number. And we have had multiple discussions over the course of several years on what to do with Logan's Land. We have had a strategic session. We have talked about Logan's Land and what South Airport Road as a whole. But we never took any concrete steps to do anything there. And I think with the strain that we are under with regards to expanding other projects, replacing culverts, replacing other roads, but more specifically, I think we need to focus on what we have right now, existing, which is improving that existing corridor, South Airport Road, Logan's Landing, improving the Hartman Cass corridor, that area, North Long Lake and Cedar Run and Straight Road, North Long Lake and East Long Lake and Straight Road. I think we need to pivot. And I've talked to Chris Barsha, and he said that when we were talking about extension of Zimmerman, that was a priority for them at that time. They have set aside, I think, about $1 million. And out of $1 million, they have $950,000 available. There's room for more money to be put in that account. But basically, their ask of us was, well, we have this money, road commission. You tell us what projects you want to prioritize. In light of the recent events, I strongly believe that we need to rethink this and focus our resources, limited as they are, on improving our existing infrastructure and improving that. And Garfield Township will support that if that's the direction we decide to go. So that's what I have to say about it.
This is to do some preliminary work. Its actual expenditure of money is going to be, I guess, a couple years off. It's about us planning. We've spoken about how we're behind on the planning. We can't get ahead. If we do this planning, doesn't work out, at least some initial steps, it's like, okay, it's not going to go that way. I don't think this is going to be in the scope of money we spend. I don't think it's going to be super expensive. I do have a presentation for you a little bit later for South Airport Road and Logan's Landing.
But we don't know how much this is going to cost. Do you know?
He's going to do an RFP. Somebody is going to give us some proposals. And when that comes in, we will, no, this is just allowing him to solicit proposals.
So then I misunderstood, because that's not what the resolution is saying. The resolution is saying it's authorizing the manager to proceed with engineering and design services. It doesn't say that it's authorizing the manager to solicit with RFPs for engineering and design
Isn't
services.
Do I have a misunderstanding of this? Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to lean on Joe a little bit on this one.
Okay.
He probably
Joe.
has much more experience with this than I do.
Call it out.
Well, actually, no, I haven't ever built a brand new road through something. This is standard language for beginning the process of design and planning. So it's authorizing the manager to seek engineering services to do a planning study. You can't do anything without public hearings. You cannot, with this resolution, go to construction with it. There needs to be steps taken further. This is the initial stage of the board telling staff to begin the planning. And so you need to do a planning phase first. You gotta, where's it going? What's it look like? What is this road? Next step would be detailed design. All different phases of this.
So is this in-house?
The
design, engineering and design services for the Zimmerman Road proposed
could be,
extension?
or it could be, or you could hire a firm to do it.
Exactly. That's my point, is that you are, the way you're describing is that I understand that before we bid it out for construction, there has to be a public hearing. But we don't require a public hearing to hire a company, an engineering company, just like we did with Frankie Road. We didn't need to have a public hearing before we ended up hiring OHM to make up the design.
No, but because you're getting new right away, there would be steps to talk to the public about it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's even authorizing versus staff time and.
It's staff time.
But
and-
there's a cost associated with
Yes.
hiring that engineer company to prepare a design, correct?
Or go through the planning process. Yeah.
Right, so is this going to be through the RFP process? Is that RFP process? Are we gonna go through an RFP process and then the finalists are gonna come to this board for final approval at that point?
I
Or
would
bid
assume.
price?
I would assume so.
Okay,
Is that okay with you?
that, I mean, if that's the process we are gonna follow, yes, because
Dan
then
just
at that
told me he
time.
could not spend the money to do this until we have some sort of resolution because it's a non-road right now.
So I have a comment.
It's outside of our range.
As we get further down this agenda, you're gonna hear me start talking about redundancy needs. And this is the beginning of redundancy need north-south. That's just as important as east-west.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very controversial on the east-west redundancies. Gonna hack some folks off and I'll get some more emails. But we have to look at this infrastructure as the need for redundancies. The one thing this last weather event made publicly clear is we do not have enough redundancies, east, west, north, south. And we need to look at it as a whole unit. So that when something happens to one area, we can move the traffic to another area, because the traffic's just gonna get worse. Let's just be honest.
Okay.
So.
And I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that we don't need this project. It's about prioritizing where we spend our resources. If we are going, the way this resolution is written, it doesn't explain that we were going to go out for an RFP. It was essentially saying that we are going to retain the services and move forward with the design services, which is going to cost an amount of dollars.
Okay, so let's move forward with this by saying we need some planning. What's the first step? And we're gonna accept we'll vote to authorize something later in expenditure. We need a proposal to see how much that's gonna be.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yes.
However you want the language, because I'm not,
I think Item 3 is, I mean, when you talk about authorization of engineering design services, that gives him the ability to get this engineering design services. I think that the intent is certainly that we're going to get somebody to throw down some surveying equipment and see what needs to be done.
Talk to the landowners.
And frankly, one way or the other, I think this, talk about priorities. I think this is a priority. I think it is a priority now. Again, what Joe said makes perfect sense, that we do need redundancy. I was talking about it years ago with the Hartman, the Hammond Hartman bridge. I said in 30 years, you're gonna be building that bridge. And whether or not we like it now, it's gonna have to happen at some point. It may seem minor, but honestly, it's a long time coming. And
I think 20 some years ago, when they told the Leelanau County people.
Well, I think we're probably too late for some of what they wanted to do, because some of that property.
Let's get some language so that we can explore this.
Yeah.
And we have Garfield's concurrence on it. It is a really old missing link. And if we don't have any, we're putting off some projects like Cass Road also now, because we can't do them. So I would, I defer to Phil. He can correct me if I'm wrong, but we are going to spend some money on these emergency repairs that we may or may not get reversed on. But we're okay. And now, we had $1 million and some for Cass, and that's got to go to next year. It's not this year's money. So we have some contingencies. Well, if we think about that without actually allocating them, this shouldn't hurt us.
I'm going to make the motion. We approve resolution 2026.
I already had a motion.
I'm sorry. Did you? I apologize.
Motion by Corn, seconded by Underwood.
Okay.
All right. Are we spending money here?
Resolution.
It's a resolution. Okay, please.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Chasm,
It's good.
No.
Okay.
Horn,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes. Ascension is good for everybody to see.
I believe this is the kind of foresight that was needed decades ago with our current issues that we're dealing with. I'm very supportive of it.
Okay, how about temporary traffic signals? This is, somebody make a motion.
Oh, this is an easy one.
We've already done.
Yeah, I'll recommend to approve the temporary signals at US 31 and Hartman Road and Cass Road and Hartman Road in the amount of 110,000.
I'll second that. I've already motion made and seconded. Do we need further discussion? Please call the roll.
Hillman,
Yes.
Chasm,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes. How about, this is an exciting one, culvert replacements.
Actually, Larry's got some updated information on this one, so I'm gonna have Larry.
Okay.
So, this is our big Marsh Road and our Sawyer Road. What I'll do is I'll just let you see some pictures of this, situation here. Look this up here. Let's see, so this is one of our big washouts here. So this is kind of taking up the road. Here, let me, I gotta make sure that everybody can see this.
Is that the Marsh Road?
Yep.
I don't think that's the Marsh Road. That's an outside road.
So this is just a culvert that has, failed on us. It's very deep. So it's just one of those things, that's kind of the extent of the depth of it. I mean, again, we could do this in normal circumstances, but just with the extent of the other repairs, we're just much more efficient doing the other repairs. We did go out to multiple contractors and we received a couple bids back in short period of time, because when the frost laws goes off, all of these contractors become extremely busy. So what I have here is Elmer's for Marsh Road repair is $42,499.80 from Elmer's. We also got a proposal from Matt's Underground at $89,770. So it looks like Elmer's is the apparent low. Now, the one thing is we had to work with Eagle on these crossings. So we had to we're working with Joe a little bit. We're working with Luke from Eagle. So there's potential that Luke may come back and say, hey, you need a bigger culvert or you need a smaller culvert or whatever it may be.
Yeah, because it changed the requirements.
It can change the requirements. So, but we have a good relationship with him. Joe knows Luke very well. I think they've been talking back and forth. So I think we have a pretty good bid there.
But the hole is the big expense anyway. I mean, cutting it open and getting it out is a big expense, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So a larger culvert.
And did you ask them to pave these, Larry? Or are they
Marsh,
both gravel roads?
yeah, Marsh is gravel and then Sawyer is paved. So yes, full repair.
Okay. So what did we get bid for Sawyer Road?
Sawyer. So Sawyer Road, let me go back to that one. This guy, just because I want to show you guys
So both of these roads currently are closed to vehicles completely.
They are.
closed the vehicles, right?
That's our concern, is getting first responders back on these roads, and then especially with Sawyer, there's an elementary school on that road.
Yes.
So we'd really like to get that opened up.
We understand you want it as immediate as possible.
Let's see if I can get it. There you go. That's a pretty good dip right there.
Yeah.
Again, there's not much under that. We don't really know what's under that right now. So
We can assume it's collapsed.
we can assume it's collapsed and the material underneath is gone. It is a very large culvert right now. That is a Bartner Creek that rolls through there.
Okay.
And it does have quite a flow.
Yeah, that would.
That part of the Silver Lake drain.
This is just down from the Silver Lake one we replaced 2 years ago.
All right, how much were these?
So Sawyer, and this is this is 103,000, or wait, I'm sorry, $103,000, $750.40. So 103,000.
Okay, that was from Elmer's.
And that is Elmer's.
Okay.
So Matt's, let's see, Sawyer Road, 165,000.
Wait, what? I thought Sawyer was 103,754.
There are two bids.
Oh, two bids. I see, okay.
And you got two bids on both.
Can we just do it as one, motion then, I guess? Yeah.
We can, all I'm saying is I'm not real, like, if there's any changes, that's the only thing that worries me. If there's any,
Right, they dig them open.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, we gotta do this too. Extras.
Well, I think.
Well, we gotta just go with this.
Yeah, you gotta go with what you got in front of you, and then we can go for.
that, yeah, I'm not asking for a blank check or anything.
Right.
I'm just saying we're gonna have to be,
Marsh Road's 42,499.
Say if there's anything over my spending allowance, we could call special meeting.
Okay. All right, I make the motion.
I never had.
Potentially reimbursed under FEMA.
Potentially,
Oh, and we want to talk about that too, because there's some things we have to make sure we do.
If everything were to go well with this, which I know it doesn't always, but how quickly could we get these roads reopened, particularly the one with the school near it? What kind of timeline are we looking at?
they're prepared right now to get on it.
Okay.
So it would probably be next week sometime,
Yeah.
but then we would, depending on the asphalt plants and things like that, we're hoping that the asphalt plants open Monday, Tuesday, so it should work out.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, make a motion that we accept the Elmer's bids for the Marsh Road at 42,499 and the Sawyer Road repair at 103,750.40.
Thank you.
Support table.
That's okay. We have a motion and support and further discussion needed for all. All right, let's vote.
Catham,
Yes.
Horn,
Yeah.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Needham.
Yes. Road tour?
Do we just need a motion to reschedule it, or do we have to come up with something?
You guys have to come up with it.
Yeah, I think that's
Then-
planning down there.
And
You have it.
maybe Dan has some dates that they can do and can't do.
That we have it for.
Yeah.
Took it out of our this meeting.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to tax on your time.
There's not a lot of dates as I'm starting to look at it here. We're looking at May.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we wait a little bit because of all the work they have to do?
I mean, but are we taking that away from?
On the Saturday?
Well, I don't think the answer.
I don't know what days which.
Yeah, right. It doesn't matter.
I mean,
If you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it. I thought.
because we were also gonna get engineers on,
So we're gonna get a
right?
5-year plan as soon as that.
Yeah, so-
Oh,
Maybe we wait till the engineer's here. I mean, honestly, if he's gotta get used to the county anyway, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a
Yeah.
sense of where we're at when we're visiting.
I
each
just think
other's
we're
spots.
putting a lot on these guys.
Yeah.
Quite
I
honestly,
have heard people who are very interested in going with us.
Well, I'm sure they are. and
very
we'll go-
good for them.
You know, I'm into operating with that too. And, you know,
You'd hate.
And not as bad.
You know.
I just think that it's a lot right now.
Yes.
I think the month of May is off the board
You know?
for everybody. I mean, in the roads. And I just feel
You got a lot
like,
going
I
on.
feel like they're
We
very
just have a lot
fast.
going on. Yeah. Think that,
But I also think there's value in what you're saying.
yeah, we definitely want to
This
do it.
isn't we don't want to do it.
I think with the new engineer, it'd be a good.
Yeah, and we want to do it. I
We
just
don't
think-
know what he can do. So do you have any dates in June we could preliminary look at?
We didn't look that far out for bus availability. We can look further out. We just like the bus availability.
Just if we have to, we'll get the pedal around.
I promise you there.
Yeah, I don't.
Does anybody have a date? If people have dates in June, we could, you want to think about now, and then they can ask the bus for those dates?
So the only day I know in June, the weekend I'm not available is the weekend of June 26th. That's the, I
How
know.
about the
for-
weekend before this?
I know I'm not.
How about the weekend before that?
I'm open every weekend.
Joe?
Just,
Joe's
I'll
open.
adapt.
Joe is okay.
I'll
I
adapt.
mean,
I didn't bring my phones in.
How about the Saturday before the weekend of the
June
25th?
20th.
That Saturday?
Yeah.
Let's try for June 20th.
The weather will be lovely.
Let's not, if we can't make it, we can't make it. This is not so bad.
I think it's,
We will reach out and see if, what's the deadline.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Lightner Bridge discussions. The community has. We're working through it. That nobody got killed that night. Those kind of things we were really fortunate for. Dan and Tom were kind of standing on the bridge when it decided to go.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, you know, it couldn't have come, the result of that could not have come any better. They were each on a side and could cordon off the bridge as they split.
Yeah, we made a split decision that something wasn't right there. We
Split the side.
Stop.
It's like, get over there or you're swimming.
We made the agreement. We were both going to take a side and we were going to come back across. And we didn't think it wasn't looking that bad. Just, you know, the guardrails making some pinging sound. It was odd. We had no idea that it was going to come down within minutes.
It was a split decision, is what you mean? Someone was there saying, no, it's all okay. Thank God he got overruled.
So I wanted to put up a time board for us, and I hope people take pictures. We're gonna talk about this.
Oh, boy.
I love a show and tell.
I don't, and the time is gonna come from our understanding of things. And so that there's no.
Oh, nice. Wow.
No, I love
teaching. Wow.
Should I Facebook this thing live?
No, but it's being. Chris, can you fill in the blanks of your deadlines of the things that you spoke to us about so far? Just so we're getting them up here, because I think this, I'm concerned with the time. And I want, you know, if the time is what it is, there's nothing we can do about it, then everybody in the community will know.
Yes.
And once we settle on these things, because they're going to have this next week or that. I don't want that to be.
So at the time of this failure, we already had a bridge consultant working on doing design for the replacement of this bridge. We knew that it was a structure that was of concern, and we were planning to have it replaced. They were nearing finalization of plans. The design consultant for that is OHM. I just spoke with them earlier today, and they will have the plans for the project done by the end of next week.
So what day is the end of next week?
Next week, the end of the first.
June 1?
May.
May 1. Okay, that's a long convention. Really good writing, huh?
As soon as they finish that up, they'll work on doing a little bit of internal QA, QC, just to make sure that they didn't miss anything as they prepared it and make sure everything is set, complete, ready to go, good quality plans. The next submission date for MDOT for federal aid projects that MDOT oversees through the local agency program is May 22nd.
That is the letting date.
That is the day that we have to submit to MDOT.
Submitted.
Yep.
And nothing can be expedited on that with the state of emergency or?
OHM is intending to submit that as soon as they finish their internal QA, QC. They anticipate to submit prior to the 22nd.
Right.
Okay. What letting date could we qualify for?
Give me a second and I can give you that accurately.
Alan,
Based off of their timeline.
you gotta start with time zero, the day the bridge went out.
Up here.
Draw Dan on one side.
I don't even know if we have these guys insured.
Right.
Maybe the families do. Well, what would we do without them?
So MDOT provides for us a schedule. If the final plans package is submitted on the 22nd of May, they, under their normal process, give a earliest bid due date of the 10th of July.
10th of July. That is the earliest.
Under their normal schedule, that is the earliest.
Normal bid. Okay, how about the expedited bid?
So we have reached out to MDOT. They have confirmed to us that they will do a shortened letting. So they will advertise the bid for less than normal. And I don't know what that is for a bridge. I think it's 4 weeks. And they are willing to shorten it to 3 weeks for us.
Okay. So when would the bid be due then? Just 1 week earlier than the July 10th, July 3rd?
We are still sorting out exactly when those are gonna nail down.
So the earliest, the decision date would be July 3rd earliest. EARLIE, that was the July 3. Okay. And then they're gonna award, then they'll award the bid like.
And then they'll award.
On Monday usually.
That is normally kind of a little bit of a lengthy process through MDOT. They have agreed to expedite that for us because they understand the criticality of that. But it involves getting the insurances from all of the contractors, ensuring that they're qualified to do the work, receiving their bonds. That there's all that paperwork that ensures that they can get done what they need to. They're qualified. They have the ability to do the work, to source the materials, and to ensure that they're going to complete the project.
So if we had 2 weeks to this, it's probably around 10 days, but maybe could be. But let's say 2 weeks. We're not sure.
Potentially.
Okay. So now we're from July 3rd and 14 days is July 17th. We might have a contractor picked up.
And this MDOT is approving the responses to the bid, right?
Because it's their.
This project has federal monies
Yeah.
associated with it, and they are responsible for administering those federal monies to local agencies.
Okay, so there's no extra level at the federal, like having to review bids and.
Back in between that May 22nd and July 10th, MDOT reviews all the bids. It goes to spec and estimates. They review all of the package. They make sure that they're okay with all of the special provisions and contract documents, and that all of those documents align with what the FHWA requires. And then they ask the FHWA to obligate those funds. And then they give us the approval for it to be advertised.
And MDOT, the buck stops with them then on the awarding the bids.
Yes.
Okay.
They pick the contractor, low bid, qualified, low bid, and you don't bid on it unless you're qualified.
Okay.
I used to be pre-qualified for road work, and you're if you're not pre-qualified, you don't bid. There will be a qualified contractor, and we will not pick it, and it'll be somebody good because the bridge contractors are good.
Right. Okay.
So the 17th, okay, and they're not like their engines aren't going to be warming up, ready to go. They could be. So the earliest start date is July 17th. And how many days do we have in our OHM's plans? Because there's usually, or has this not come back yet? MDOT allows for a unit of work for every item, every piece of steel you put. There's a timeline you're allowed. Joe, you're pretty familiar with this stuff. If there's so that this is, there's a. Did you have a comment on it? We're discussing this so the people in the community understand.
Yeah.
This.
At this point in time, the progress clause hasn't been updated with dates. Because it was intended to be in 2027. So working through that, that's part of the final submission for the plans in May 1st. That's a discussion point that needs to get changed. And we have some flexibility in the allotted time. So typically road commission gives, like, say you have 2 months to get this done, but they give them a window of time so they can fit it into their schedule and you get better bids. This one's probably just going to be a little bit more nailed down.
But the start date could be delayed, like certain things they know they're going to work on in September. This one will probably be a fairly immediate start. We're hoping, right?
That's the plan.
Okay.
We're looking for some approval from you guys for some things to try and incentivize that.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
So then if it's July 17th and the bridge might take 6 months to build. Figure out the date that is, right, everybody?
Right. Yeah.
Asphalt plants are gonna be closed. We're not gonna get approaches unless we change to concrete. Maybe pay extra for.
I don't have a problem with that.
So it's gonna be concrete.
Gonna be concrete.
No, I want everybody to understand that this is,
Schedule you're giving me, we're gonna have to do concrete.
Yeah,
we're not in charge of that even,
But I mean, no.
but sometimes those things happen. So,
that'd be a better.
so, okay. So well, the bridge is gonna be concrete. It should
Yeah.
be asphalt
I
approach. Is it gonna
understand.
stop 100 feet from the road or? So, okay, so Christmas is, so I called the bridge contractor. I said, how about if you just build our bridge? If we're courageous enough to just go do it. And he said, the process isn't really much longer with MDOT. The progress, everything in bridges goes upon the pre-stressed concrete beams, availability. And that is the underlying control of job. So he said, once I have the job, I order the beams and I build my schedule backward and forward, because the day the beams arrive on site, the beams go off the truck and they don't go onto some chocks. They set on the bridge. So it's all around the timeline. And these timelines, apparently there's not very many pre-stressed concrete guys, and the slots are hard to get. So even us going ahead and spending $4.4 million, which is the engineer's estimate, we're going to wait for the beams. Now, right now, we know we're probably not going to get started until July 17th, but today is a little earlier than that. The only thing I could come up with, other than us paying the whole thing and then still being bound by it, is ask MDOT if we could buy the beams. It's a very unusual request. That's why I asked Dan if he'd got the call yet. And you said you haven't. They told me they would call us today or tomorrow. The section guy who I asked you about his name earlier.
Bruce Katzman.
Yeah. Would tell us if there was any flexibility in FHWA to go ahead and buy the beams.
And still count on the reimbursement.
Well, I didn't even care if they were reimbursed, frankly. What does it cost our community every day? Everybody has to go around, the wear and tear on the other roads. All I wanted was availability. I know back when I had, diverge a little bit, when I had my asphalt plant we need to run tomorrow, my company built it was in Fort Wayne. Elmer's company is in Orlando. I sent, when I need to go the next day, overnight, the guys go there. They charter a plane to get stuff there. In construction, you kind of do what you got to do. In most of this stuff, it's not emergency, but I thought we should owe it to our community to see if there was anything we could do.
So by us buying the beams, your plan is that then we would at least have those beams in
the order.
In the order that as soon as we get this July 17th,
start right
that we can start right away.
That the guy would know that he's not.
We can not start
that the beams, because otherwise they won't order the beams
until
July.
Yeah,
got it. Time.
So I don't know enough about it yet. I'm just.
So the theory is, we submit, MDOT approves, and we can buy those beams.
It usually isn't done.
And you know, that's what you're saying.
I can't think
Once
of
they say, yeah, that's gonna work.
I can't think of any other thing we can do.
Right.
And anybody in the community who wants to can throw something at us. We have a chance to talk to our representatives to see if they have anything. And there just might not be. But if you have anything else for all the people who are driving around, this is all I've got today.
Okay, so if MDOT's approving the plans, then we need those specific beams. Period.
Yeah, the beams are already, that's OHM's already spec'd those, right, Chris? I saw the little sketch in the bridge, but they tell us what to buy. They tell.
There's a design for them that recessed bulb tee.
Who at MDOT makes that decision that you allow? Is there a specific?
I don't know. A friend of mine called down there because they had a good working relationship when he was working. And this is the section chief that's in charge of local agency projects.
Because I'm thinking maybe we can ask our representative, like Representative Roth or to
Senator
call,
DeVos.
to call down there and put that in.
Representative.
Yeah.
Yes, anybody who, it's big in our town.
Right.
But so exploring this, I couldn't come up with anything but the 4.4 billion, and that didn't help us. Because it's still, the contractor told me it's all about the delivery date of the pre-stressed meetings.
So can I ask a couple questions?
You can ask anything. I know
Has
so little.
Eagle-
These guys know so much more than
Had
I do about
Eagle
this.
backed off of all their excessive demands they originally had now that it's collapsed? I mean, they were arguing over settlementation, they were arguing over the bank.
The fish.
Well, there was
The fish.
Yeah.
The barn and all
Spawning
that, you know.
season of the
Yeah,
fish.
there was a fish issue too.
There was a restriction on work during the winter because of the fish and the spawning. We did have a meeting with, it's actually Eagle in conjunction with the DNR there. We did meet with the fisheries folks, explained what we intended to do and what our progress schedule looked like. And they had given us approval to do work during the winter. We just had to be out of the water by a particular date, which worked out very well with what our anticipated timeline was. And then we got our rain event. So we were all good on everything. And we were proceeding forward with what we needed permitting wise. It looks like we're still going to be just fine on the permitting. We're waiting for the final sign off on that.
Okay.
All parties
There is a
involved. and
permit
all-
online sort of issue
Okay.
to us with some general conditions.
Wonder if this helps expedite all that.
All parties and all agencies involved understand the
Okay.
criticality of this and the expediency that's needed.
Okay.
So let's say they say, no, we're not in, you can't do this. Okay, I don't have anything else but wait. But just think that it's gonna be July, so when people think this is gonna be about 6 months, it's not gonna be 6 months from now.
Right.
No, it's, yeah.
Because this bridge is a 6-month building project, right? From the engineer's point of
I've
view.
been thinking 9 months.
Just to build the bridge.
Like the day you start construction to when you think you would finish it and people can drive on it, I don't have a frame of reference.
No, not 6 or 9 months. Your longest wait is the beams
Mhm.
and then waiting for the concrete deck to cure.
Okay.
So that's a 27-day wait. Regardless, to wait for the concrete to cure. As far as the other parts of it go, when we did Garfield River and the 2 River Road bridges, all 3 of those were done in the same summer.
How long did the Robbins Bridge take to build?
Wasn't here for that.
That was
Andy was.
yeah,
5 months?
yeah, 5 months. There was a big excavation though, in order to get down to the footings where the new river channel was going to be, because all that was filled in. So the first part of that was to dig down to where the river was.
There was no river.
There was no river there. You were working.
But they were working,
Yeah.
they were working dry, which might have been easy.
Yeah, but they did have to excavate a very large hole
They had
and
to
get
build
down
the
to where the piers are. And this is a single span bridge, not a 3-span. So there's a lot less foundation work.
So from the day construction starts to when the first cars are allowed, how long for this bridge? Estimate. I'm not gonna hold you to it.
Assuming all the parts come in at a normal time.
Yeah,
I would think you could do it in 4 months if they really
Okay.
got on it.
Because I know there's work that you
weeks,
continue doing on the other stuff while the traffic.
If you get the precast beams and everything lines up, like that wouldn't be unheard of.
Before they can place the beams, they've got to go in and put the cofferdams around the abutments, remove the old structure from the river, drive piles. There are a lot of piles to drive, construct the abutments, and then after you get all that done, you can start working on setting beams and then pouring a deck on top of the beams.
Typically, you're doing that while you're waiting for the beams
While you're
to be
waiting for the
delivered.
beams, right?
You don't wait for the beams to show up on site when you build your foundation.
So I asked, and I think, did you have something to say about this, Chris? If we took the debris out of the river now, would that help? the only thing I thought about, it's ugly, and we might help people be able to actually use the river this summer if we did, if MDOT would let us.
It is ugly. The Eagle and Fisheries have given us permission that if we would like to proceed with that, we could. OHM just went out and redid a drone LiDAR and photogrammetry flight over it just to kind of re-verify conditions. There's some excavation now that we don't have to do. But just to verify how what has happened lines up with what is proposed. And they were able to share that over just this afternoon here. It lines up fairly well with what's proposed in the excavation that was going to have to be done anyways to construct the abutment. The benefit to leaving it in the contract is that in the contract, there's already a pay item set up for it, and there's a cost share on that from the feds. If we do it outside of the contract, it's going to be at entirely our cost. But as you mentioned, the benefit is there is not that obstruction in the river that may impede recreational traffic, and it is ugly.
Mr. Chairman, what roughly you think the cost would be for us to remove it and possibly never get reimbursed?
You're gonna need a crane.
Yeah, you're talking a crane down there at minimum, and I honestly don't even know what the estimate on that is. I think we could investigate and work something out to, yeah.
My thought is that if we are able to do it at a reasonable cost, it at least shows the public that we are doing something there. You know, we're cleaning it up, we are removing it, and it's just. I think
How
it's
about
just
the safety of the kayakers and stuff?
well, and that too, but it shows that we're, you know, because there's a lot of criticism, even, you know, oh, there's that, and obviously most of it is because people don't understand all the processes that we just talked about, that there are all these hoops that we have to jump through to get to that. But if there is a reasonable, cost-effective way to clean this up, I just think it shows that we are doing something that it, you know, and we're not just sitting on our hands.
And I don't think it's safe. I think a lot of people use our rivers, and
Well, it's not safe.
I'm gonna,
You
yeah,
can.
I'm gonna put
it's
my
not
park
safe.
and rec hat on too. That would be great to have that removed because of the amount of recreation that happens in that area. That's not saying we can open up any side of any of those parks because most of it's closed because they're not sure about all the banks all the way down.
They
So there's
come down from
multiple
Brown
parks
Bridge,
that are
though.
closed, but they can come down.
Yeah,
Or
you
their
come down from
own
Brown Bridge.
pre-stressed beams.
And people are going to come
We,
down.
we can ask if they would at least allow us, if we pay for this, can they just fold it into the,
Yeah.
we'll pay for it, but put it as our 20%.
It could be part of our match.
Part of our match. Well, okay, so ask. I hear from the board that you guys are willing to pay things. It's 100 to 200.
And especially we can go on our match.
Maybe we can go on, yeah, no, we don't have any leverage over federal highway.
I know.
They have a processes, they're big, they probably don't like doing special things because you've got to have processes when you're so big.
Yeah, then everybody will.
But this
This is different in our community. It's pretty big.
I just want to note something. Toughest part of that bridge is those rails.
Yeah.
I think we need to recover those.
Oh, you don't want them taken to the salvage yard, you want them, huh?
Who manufactured the railings? Many people have asked about this.
Right?
Right? Like, it is impressive. I have a question I want to bring up that we hear often, and I think it's worth having an open discussion about it. I was fortunate enough to have a discussion with Joe Slinecki the other night about this, but one of the common comments that you see or questions is why can't we have the Army Corps of Engineers put up a temporary bridge at Beitner? And there's a lot of reasons why, yes or no. But I think Chris just going through describing all of the processes that happen before those beams go up. If we had a temporary bridge up there, none of that process could happen because the roads would be open. All the things you said, could we do all of that prep work? You were talking about driving pilings and putting up the barriers. Could you do that if there was a temporary bridge on Beitner?
I mean, I believe a temporary bridge would be in the way. I'm not
I mean,
sure what it would look
logic
like.
tells you that.
We're currently sitting at about a 90-foot span. I don't know how large the temporary bridges are that they have available.
Well, sir, the
Can't
Facebook
deploy
comment
ones that
section
I've seen
engineer
are about 40 feet.
are very aware of that. But I think it's a reasonable question for somebody to think about. We all have seen and know about these temporary crossings that are put up in a variety of ways, including in natural disasters. I grew up in Florida, Hurricane Bill, like that was something that happened there for the barrier islands. So I think, in some way getting the message out that even if all of the stars fell into alignment and we had the opportunity to receive one of these bridges in our community, it may be encumbering to us moving rapidly on the process to fix the bridge. Or maybe it won't be, but I think that's a discussion, just like a 2-minute discussion as to why it would or wouldn't.
And that's still a temporary bridge. So you would still need to construct the permanent one. A temporary bridge is not designed to meet any form of standard. You are not going to be permitted to drive 55 miles an hour
Okay.
over a
Good
temporary
information.
Or a
bridge.
semi, for that matter.
Or loaded 8-axle Red River asphalt paving trailer.
Right.
Or a fire truck. Or what else?
Yeah.
Joe filled me in on all of this information, but it's good information for everybody that, doesn't know
Think
that.
about all those 8-axle Red Rivers on South Airport Road.
Yeah.
That's good. Please.
So having that up would be a hindrance to us proceeding as efficiently as we could in the process of the actual permanent bridge being built. Would be a reasonable statement. Or Joe, I don't know. Joe, what do you say?
I mean, looking at the timeline, if you can start July 7th, if a temporary bridge went up, would it alleviate? Yeah, for some time, but another consideration is there's a lot of other roads that are out in Michigan right now.
Yeah.
And whatever temporary bridges are available, they might be looking at a lot longer time frame until they can get something put in place. And I don't know where priorities lie with that kind of action.
I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. Just.
Well, I
For the
think we're
time
gonna
that-
make sure we get this information out though, because a lot of people have asked and a lot of people have it's a reasonable question. Especially when you don't understand the process of building and designing and completing construction of bridges.
I think it would complicate it. unnecessarily.
There you go. That's the most commonly asked question.
What did we save even?
No, put it, yeah.
I mean, is it from a safety?
So do we need to make a motion on the beams or just?
I think we'll reconvene if there's any.
If there's a possibility, I think it'd be worth doing.
Can I ask a secondary question? Only because I see Blair Township here, and
Here, Blair.
on Wednesday I heard from the fire chief.
Oh,
I'm assuming you guys have everything worked out on calls.
They have,
Okay.
yep, they've been, right away in communication with East Bay and with Metro.
How much time did it add to your far corner of the township first?
We can't cover it.
I mean, though, how much do you think that's adding? Because now,
From East
if
Bay.
you're over there, you're coming from East Bay 1
Yeah.
over by 3 Mile. How long do you have it? No.
It's hard to tell
Okay.
with all the other traffic that's been rerouted,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I know Blair, we're not even covering anything, obviously.
Yeah. So
On that
does that
side.
go to East Bay and Garfield?
Yeah, East Bay and Garfield are covering for us.
It is what it is.
Dan, do you have, or Chris, have anything else to add to the White Hill Bridge discussion? Told you I had a few giggles for you. I don't, as you know, I'm not a technician. I'm just a political. I'm not a political. I'm not. No, so, but as somebody who thinks this is important to the community, has to ask a few questions, and we can keep asking questions. Because it's an idea.
It's reasonable.
It's reasonable to say that if we can do something, we'll call a special.
Yep.
I appreciate, Blair Township appreciates this conversation. I was taking notes. I will do everything I can to get this out to our community and to our people, and any social media, I can now, I feel like I know enough to be able to respond. I appreciate every single one of you greatly. I think you're doing the best you can. You, thank God.
Oh, I thought you were going to say replace. I mean, I'm telling you. You're doing a great job. I had cut it off, but well, and we are. we're moving down to commissioner reports, requests, and roundtable. I have a little presentation on Airport Road.
Yeah.
I love it.
Or you guys go first if you want to.
Because I want to talk about airport too, so.
I had a question about airport as well, so.
Again, I'm thinking about,
Get a little pointer.
yeah, well,
Outside of that, I've seen before.
had I had of the technical ability to have scan it in and have Larry put this up, I would have got some, but we've talked about corridors and we've had discussions, we should be doing this. So I've got some ideas based on things I've heard for the last since 1980. About the airport corridor. And some of these are a little bit, here's where we are now. And here is something imposed over the same area. We need redundancy and we need safety. We need to get out of the floodplain and get out of the swamp. This suggests a bridge over the Logan Valley. This is identified here as Park Drive, which would be the terminating point on east. You moving westerly, there's two high lane going west and two high lanes going east, and then these local lanes, because that way we have more lanes, but not more space. We have a little less sprawl. Fold in under here. And the concurrent access points, again, these are located at where the driveways are now. Like here to Medley Park. And here where we have a special assessment district going on we're gonna let and pave soon, right?
The YMCA?
The YMCA road, the office park deal that's going on.
Garfield, yeah.
Garfield. So those are sort of incorporated here. You have three rivers shown, even though there's only one river, because the river is too small. And that's why the velocity, and that's why it hits our dam now that we have it, which we think is a causeway, and it floods. We need to let the river run. We need to set the river free, in my estimation, and it would be a big part of this deal. There's a lot to happen, and all I'm doing is throwing out ideas so that people know we're thinking about it. And we've thought about it before, but it's time to take action. Our board chair at the county saw this last night. I think they're prepared to help lead. I was talking to a very nice younger lady who said, you guys, the last big project we did with you, which was the Robbins Bridge, you were a great partner. When we've tried to do some of these other things, we tried to lead, and we were only one facet of the community, and they didn't go so well. But yet we have a beautiful bridge, and I think we have the potential to work with other people. And we're not going to have three rivers, but the old maps that Doug Mansfield showed me, and Doug's a local business guy. He's been here forever. He's made presentations to our board. Most of you guys know him. He agreed to help me throw something up that would make sense so people have discussion points. This part of the river, which I was told was original, actually is not original. It came to be, there's tree stumps in there. Where there's tree stumps, not original. It started showing up on the surveyor's maps. We might have old plat books here, around 1956. Somewhere in the 50s, this was done. The actual river probably went, although there was a delta there, it was actually further north Boardman Lake has grown because of the Union Street Dam. And there's really people we could work with within our community who know this stuff. John Syke has been convening a meeting that Dan was at with me a week ago Thursday. It's what's really started me thinking. He's working on the Garfield corridor. What are we going to do with it? But there are people in our community who can help us with this. The big problem with this, so I think over this, and it's not our bridge at the corridor thing was 2,700 feet. And they told us that was pretty expensive, right? Yeah. Whether it was right or not, or exactly it was spitball. We need 1,200 feet to do this. And we're not in a virgin corridor. We're going to spoil somebody's.
That's all the NEPA stuff could be.
It certainly can be dealt with in a guy who's lived here for a long time, old man's opinion. So if we do something like this, we at about 400 feet. I know I tried MDOT's bridge estimator, Joe. I wore it out. But at about 400 feet, you could have 400-foot spans that are not as bad. Okay. And so we would accomplish whether the lower lanes are in the floodplain, right? If they flood, great, in a few days they go away, but it doesn't shut our town off. It doesn't stop emergency services. It doesn't stop crosstown traffic. It's not a final design. It's a guess. Here's the couple of things that you really have to think about the benefits of the community, right? There's taxpayers here. The river probably needs to go at Anacostas. If we're going to do restorative work, and two young, everybody's young to me, 2 young entrepreneurs just bought Anacostas. Yes. And they're going to spend money there. They have to know that we're thinking of this so they don't spend the money so that we can, hey, and they're community-minded people. We can take it if it's to the benefit, it's ugly. And we have to, I don't believe these guys are, I should have invited them tonight, but you can only take so much of this in doses. Jason, you want me to stop?
No, I mean.
Oh, okay. I mean, we could take a bathroom break.
I hear you recommending the Shorts Brewery Causeway. That's what
I hope in conjunction with our county leaders, yes, who control the park and some other things here, that we can convince Shorts that we've got a place for them that's not in the riverbed.
Right. Can I ask a question?
You can ask Andy.
Because you and I came on this board at the same time. At that time, the county administrator indicated that FEMA was interested in helping us do this, but then it kind of petered away. Do we know what happened?
We don't. Here's the, may I say?
Absolutely. The chairman's here, so it's fine.
Congressman Bergman is coming here tomorrow.
Yes.
He's getting a tour of our damaged sites, and if we have to have an ask, we have to have a plan, right? Yeah. We have to have a vision, not a plan. We have to have we have to have something. And in 3.5 days, this was the best I could do.
It's wonderful.
I love it. Well, we know we need a span bridge because we have to not be wiped out by flooding, but we know we need access points for the businesses that are located below. I was part of the think group 10 years ago on this, and it almost looked like exit ramps, if you will, that were local throughs. And we said the same thing then. If they flood, they flood, because you're not limiting the span bridge. But at that time, there was a lot of issues in the discussion of the span bridge and the environmental aspects of the natural river below. The Robbins Bridge was not located in the natural river. The Beitner Culvert is not located in the natural river, but South Airport Road is. And that was where I understood we ran into kind of all of our brick walls.
A community-based thing. OHM has done a good job for us, and part of it is how you are visioning for it. We need to vision locally. You know, Bill Zipp was a great guy, lives in Farmington. We have to talk about these things with everybody and be open, knowing this is going to cost money. First, we're going to ask for some help.
Right.
Then we're going to think about all the financing. Would you like to say something about the financing?
I was gonna speak at public comment, but if you want me to speak now, I can.
That's part of the bridge discussion.
Go ahead. I have a question on all the studies we've done, because we have studied that area. We need that solved.
So for the folks at home, I know how this works. I'm Scott Seabrand, Chair, Boardman, or Board of Commissioners, Boardman.
400.
And I also represent Board White River Bridge of the Washout, it's part of my district. So long story short, well, it's gonna be a long story either way. Decided to act like I want to give Alan and Dan. Dan, Alan and I, sorry, your chair, we attended a meeting with Greg Bird and we talked about the floodplain. Your FEMA question is that there might be a potential that because there was an incident that created damage, pennies on the dollar. But one of the things that we have done so far successfully at the county is something that we hadn't done in a long time is that we're building a jail. Maybe you've heard about that. And so the amount of community engagement and bringing the partners in our community together has been something we're not really figuring it out for ourselves. We've had some help on that, but we're pulling all these people in that have a buy-in and we're talking to folks and we're getting support for that. And I haven't heard anything bad yet. And so when, the chair Lehman came to us with this on a very long breakfast, my son will tell you all about. Says hello, by the way. The vision they had on this, we thought about that and we talked and we had a meeting after we got some drawings and like, we already have the template. It's the jail project. Except now we're not building the jail. Now we're going to build a bridge. And it's going to be the county road commission. And I don't know that we're going to lead it. I think that's kind of your guys' job. We just got a little extra money, maybe. Don't tell Nate I said that. Or Mr. Bott. I hope he doesn't watch this.
He does not watch.
But we did meet with some of the folks that he was talking about at the meeting. And I think that there's potential here when I talk about the jail, the justice facility, because there's going to be so much more in the jail. We talk about the people at the right place at the right time with the right will. And I sat in a room with people I didn't know before that 20 years ago, you guys would be throwing flaming dart or arrows at each other that were like, this is something that we can get behind and they're excited to do that. We're in a position where we're seriously looking at our finances. We have some damage. We have some money that may be coming. I have my hand fully extended out to everybody that wants to come by. We have set some of those things in motion. I will try to reach out on your behalf for the state agencies as well for the next week. I think it's a good idea. At least we get started on that. I mean, sure, it'd have been great if we had had a Hammond Harmon Bridge, but we didn't have 300 some odd million or 175 million or whatever.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant what it would cost.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. We didn't have it. We didn't have it. And so now there's a point where this is a focus. People are excited about it. We have public-private partnerships. I am certainly going to reach out to the townships. I mean, this is going to be everybody who wants to be involved is certainly going to be invited to the table.
I did get on Garfield's schedule for their meeting Tuesday night to show what we have. Again, there is some, we've got some other things that a little bit low, that show how this works kind of in conjunction with each other. Maybe you can see that better here. With these points of access, I do think we need to talk to the short sky right away. And maybe it can't happen. I don't know, but it's time for people in Traverse City to cooperate. They saw what this did to us. And even that, when Dan and the guys were down there a week ago Tuesday, is that all it was? It seems a lifetime ago, honestly. And the thought that this was going to, my wife said, Alan, you're the chair of the road commission. You lost 2 of your 3 crosstown route. What a great time.
Good job, man.
All for $120 a week. So anyway, so we have people who I believe we can work with. We have some community, and they have special asks. Somebody who's really big in recreation looked at this, and one of the things that we had heard over the years, about the Hammond Hartman was the groups wanted to get through underneath, right? This gives you know how my relatives came in from New Hampshire. They're in better shape than I am, but we rode around Fordman Lake. You know, it's pretty special. On the tar trail or whatever you call this really expensive connected trail. But when you see all the things you did, you say, hey, cost a lot of money. People love it and use it way more than I would ever dream. But yet you try to get across South Airport. So imagine this. The tribe owns most, which they're probably going to be a big partner in this. With them buying the old Sara Lee headquarters and the college here. Mike Orden owns this, and then this is all the way back to the thing. And imagine then perhaps working with county parks, vacating the YMCA.
That's owned by Garfield Town.
Garfield. It's underwater. Remember, did you used to play tennis? I used to play tennis there when.
They already have a deal where the Buckley Old Engine Show is going to buy the building when it's disassembled. They've been waiting for 12 years to do that because the Y won't vacate on this lengthy lease. But I feel like unless they're going to start doing swimming lessons there, it's time, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things coming together with this. I think Alan has the momentum that we're thinking of. We originally, when I sat on the Boardman Dam Committee, but also when I worked on this crossing, one of the biggest, most interesting things we had going for us, first of all, CZM, so the Coastal Zone Management, they were heavily involved in that. But one of the things that was interesting was at the time we were thinking of creating a water trail or a Boardman water trail, you know, kind of like they have the Chain of Lakes and all of that. Recently in Antrim County, they created a water trail and that opened up money. We had the plans and I can still picture the drawings. We called it a wildlife crossing underneath and we put like a moose because that was funny. But there was trails underneath where obviously wildlife can cross and not be on the road like deer, but also people. And we were talking about a water trail that there was a lot of buy-in. At that time, Pure Michigan was new. And you could kayak and it would continue through. There's a handicapped accessible launch at the South Y, and then there's one by the Boardman by Oriana's. And all of those were tied in. The money for those came from all of this discussion, making the span bridge on South Airport. Our friends at TART, at the water trail, the nature reserve, the CZM, everybody wanted to play a role in this because the bridge wasn't just a span bridge for emergency services and motorists and people driving Costco. It was also a very, very seriously impactful point for the recreational trails there, water and people.
Yeah.
I think it's all there. The pieces are all there that we were missing some of the components 10 years ago that I think we have now. Our recreation, our tourism has increased. So I love the idea.
Think about how our population has grown now. It's maybe bigger than we want. If they would have shut that gate at Claire, we wouldn't have had this.
Right.
But we've got an event here that's motivating people.
I think it's clear that you're going to have to do something with South Airport moving forward. And so, and for my part of the county, we're all about sooner is better because we saw the terrible effects of what happened. So we can get community buy-in, and it sounds like from what I heard last night, there are people that are like very excited for these kind of things because they can be involved. We have some opportunity for some federal funding outside of the normal things that we have happening. And to your point, I think it's the time is now.
Yeah.
And this has happened since Saturday.
Yeah.
Like he asked me to breakfast on Friday. And he's done this since Saturday, and we would be in a week. We're as far ahead as we were in the jail project in probably 6 weeks.
Scott, what was last night? What kind of players were in that? You say that
The recreational folks.
Okay. So, and that's exactly what I'm alluding to is that, there is a lot of money, accessible in those water trails, more so than anybody would ever think. And would you think that? Why are
Park and Rec is like the craziest thing to me. I don't get it. I know you know. It's crazy.
Anyways, we have something to talk about. We agree that we need to press forward. Heidi, you were a little earlier. We didn't want to do this, but we're all with you. We're ready to go, man.
So can I just, One of the things we've been criticized for is the cost of studies for the bridge. And then when I was chairman at the time, when I said, we can't afford this, we gotta stop this. We could probably use some of the studies because we've studied this corridor extensive. Because that's other one that didn't happen. Have you still used those? Joe?
They're looking, he's looking at you. Joe's looking at you,
The study
Joe.
that we did
What's it
for
been, 9 years?
Hartman.
No.
Are those still, what's the lifespan?
Some of them
We
are
don't have to do
a couple
any more
years
study.
Yeah.
I know.
Have we saved money by
Because we were doing phase one for you.
Phase one started in not early 18. It kicked off.
Yeah, it's an 18.
Uh-huh.
Are they still
But it
valid?
continued when I was on the board. It's only been a few years.
I don't know why it wouldn't still be valid, because there were valid points in the Vision 20 study.
Right.
Like there's at least 3 or 4 historical that anything that you do environmental is outdated. But the last one, it wasn't a full federal process because there were no federal funds involved. But it met a lot of the criteria, and that's why it was done that way.
My point being, we may be able to shorten up any lifetime because we've already done studies in this corridor. Which, because this is absolutely.
Yeah, this is another artist misrendering of this, but you can see how. You can see how there's work to be done on this, but you have the spans going through. You have local access. Access. I initially, I have some I left at home that without this eastern access, if I was thinking about trying to let the floodplain do what the floodplain do and maybe get, well, we're probably not going to give up in the park. I think there's a lot of use in that park down there. And you know,
There's a lot of use in the park. Denali Park is very popular.
very popular. So
I'm there all the time.
So there, you something has to give you access here, and it would have made it a little bit easier here because the top of the hill where it used to be Art Van is the struggle. But I'll tell you, this has been measured. It fits.
Isn't it just Verizon on the other side? I think sitting in the flood right
yeah.
now, and that's it. I believe in that area. Is
Yeah,
that one?
the office park when we were over there,
They're high.
they were high enough, weren't they? They're in the floodplain, but they were high enough.
Up when they put
And
that
if we unleash the river a little bit more to spray, and I think the people who are specialists at rivers should decide where the rivers go and tell us what to do. I think we can integrate our plans to manage our way through here. Again, 400-foot spans. A little bit, one might be 380, but there's enough to figure this out. There's enough will in our community to get this done. Well, we have access to some funding. We're hoping to ask for some tomorrow. We're going to ask tomorrow. We get turned down. We say, okay, we're going to ask.
Keep your fingers crossed. It's an election year.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've made the county commissioners have talked to representatives in both parties who represent our district who are going to be asked for support.
And they're probably going to be reaching out to you guys. I mean, as soon as we had the incident, they were turning up our phones and saying, "Hey, what can we help?" I said, "Well, we're getting with you folks, and we'll let you know as soon as we know."
Okay. It's been a pretty stressful week for old guy. We do everything. We had a good team. They had great teamwork. We learned, the community learns. We got hurt.
Yeah. Thankfully, nobody got hurt.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. That's all I always got for commissioner comments last night. And let's go around the table. Commissioner Gilman.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll start. On the FEMA stuff, documentation is going to be everything on timing. My understanding is that we need to determine, or we need to define when the emergency starts and ends, to make sure that, because otherwise they'll do it after the fact and it may not work for advantage. So that was something I wanted to bring up. And as far as now, are we looking for FEMA money on culvert projects as well? So So each one of those has to be kind of documented separately. Otherwise, it won't fall in. So I'm sure this is stuff that you guys, know already, but I just wanted to follow up and make sure. And we can, of course, try to prevent the scope creep, okay. The only other things that I have to talk about, first of all, is you guys, honest to God, I mean, I came in here, last Wednesday morning, and Larry's back there directing traffic, literally just going nuts and everything. We went down to the Beitner bridge, and everything from there to the closure of the South Airport. I have nothing but serious respect for the people who work out this building.
Yes.
Okay. Now, having said that, I have some things that are not on the emergency scope of things. So as you know, I'm now driving Uber, and I spend a great amount of time on the road. It's insane how much time I spend on the road. In fact, they have to kick me off the road after 12 hours, apparently. So, one of the things that I will say is that the lights cost me an hour to an hour and a half a day. That's just me. Because the signal sits there, and it's an equal opportunity annoyer. It'll stop traffic this way, and long enough to really irritate somebody. And then it'll wait till somebody approaches this way and then stop them because, well, let's make it maximum inconvenience. I'm not sure that Scoot works. But I will say this, there are certain lights that we could turn off, or we could adjust or do something with that would help traffic flow. And I'm gonna keep beating this horse till it's completely and utterly dead. Silver Lake. Let's work our way back. I think at the top of the hill, it's one. I think that light has the best timing, the best sensing. It moves traffic like nothing else in this county does. I think it's one of the best lights in the county. At the bottom of the hill, that light should be default green to people traveling on Silver Lake. It is currently a default South Airport, green for South Airport. And the reason I say that is you're coming down the hill and you're hitting the brakes to stop at that light every single time. If you can flow through, I mean, the road is a fast enough road. If you can flow through, you're better off. Whereas the people coming from South Airport, they got to stop anyway, or at least they have to slow down significantly anyway. And it's not a downhill thing. I think we need to change that to a default green for South Airport. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about? As far as at Copper Ridge, that's my other main complaint. After 7 o'clock, there isn't any action coming out of Copper Ridge. And if there is, it's very sparse. It needs to blink at 7, not 10. Right now, it's 10 o'clock. And it's a long light, unfortunately. And maybe it could be shortened up even in the other times. As far as Frankie Road goes, Frankie Road is a mixed bag of who knows what it's going to do one day to the next. Are we still having problems with the sensors on there that you're aware of?
They were able to get part of the detection equipment replaced, and that should be functioning right now.
Okay, all right. I think it's probably a little long on the Frankie Road side. It's another one where people are rolling downhill, and you can almost guarantee you're going to get stopped. You're eventually going to have to stop at 31, but it's kind of, it's more of a level plane at that point, so people coast a little better. I'm not really sure whether or not commenting on 3 Mile and Parsons is important at this point, given that the traffic is just, 3 Mile and 31 there, it's shut off. I still think that one's probably a little on the long side. But other than that, the road system seems to be working pretty well. I do I do still complain a little about Garfield and South Airport, but honestly, at night, it's also as good as Silver Lake. I think the timing's perfect, but it's also off the scoot at that time, I think, too. It's more of a sensor triggered thing. I might as well go through with the rest of them. I have no complaints with Cass and South Airport, though there are people who do. I have no complaints with our mall light there. Truthfully, it does what it's supposed to do in the timing that it's supposed to do. I think that the Veterans Drive lights sometimes is a little long, but I think it's probably pretty good. And of course, at the bottom of the Lafreniere, that light's awesome at night too. And it triggers like it's supposed to, a little longer in the day. And we don't have anything to say about the MDOT lights, I'm sure, which are a mixed bag. But that's a whole other thing. Other than that, that's my drive around reporting. and trust me, it's probably not the end of it. So I won't go carry on too much more.
Lafreniere Hammond, just like over here, we're gonna talk about that.
Lafreniere what?
Lafreniere, Hammond Road,
Oh,
Evan and Garfield.
yeah.
And you missed a few, like.
Yeah, no, there's
Next month.
yeah.
If you continue.
Well, I do know that, of course, you got Hammond and 3 Mile, but we're changing that whole configuration there, which is going to help traffic move a little better through there. So that'll be pretty nice. But yeah, that's it for now, I guess.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to thank the road commission staff and your team for doing an outstanding, amazing job during a very difficult time. Being out there 24/7 and the amount of work that you guys had to put in round the clock to make sure that the rest of our roads didn't get washed out and that we were able to preserve a lot of our road infrastructure. Saw the video I think you posted, Joe, about our equipment picking up logs from the Boardman River that were traveling towards South Airport Road. That most likely saved South Airport Road. Had you not been there, had your guys not been there, it would still be closed. So I mean, just kudos to you guys for doing an outstanding job on that. I also want to thank our chair. I mean, I honestly, I did not know that this was going to happen this year when you took over chair. So, I did not plan this. I did not plan this. I did not have, I would have used my psychic powers a lot to my advantage, but thank you for being out there. I know it's not easy when you have your own business to run, and just from hearing all the work you have put in since Friday, from Chair Seifert and all the meetings, and this is a lot of time commitment, and so thank you for doing all that and being on the ground for that. Also want to thank Commissioner Horn for keeping everyone informed. I think that was a very important job to do, because my gosh, the keyboard warriors were in full force about every single thing without any information. That's what really amazes me about Facebook, to be honest with you, is that there are so many opinions that are not based upon information. It doesn't even have to be right information. It's just not based on any information. The proliferation of, I think, anonymous profiles has really contributed to whatever you can say, because there are no consequences to that. So thank you for that. I do wonder why Commissioner Horn spent an inordinate amount of time drafting these Facebook posts and press releases. And I am wondering, why is it a PR company doing that?
They were doing other stuff that was not, I jumped in where I could help so that Dan didn't have to spend so much time explaining things to people. But it happened so rapidly that I jumped in to help just at a time when I was needed. And now it's just a matter of forming ideas that are the most frequently asked questions getting the information so that Dan and Chris and Joe don't have to be PR people. And then I hand it off to them and they do the editing, the drafting, the great videos, all the stuff. But there was no way they do Grand Traverse County, Cherry Capital Airport, Terravis. Everybody was having emergencies at the same time. So we needed an extra set of hands and I'm happy to do it.
Sure. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I mean, because we have a PR company
Oh, no, they
specifically for that.
They were very
reason
much a part of it. I just
that-
thought Dan could use a liaison.
Yeah, I mean, because my expectation would have been that they would be communicating with Dan and getting the messaging out
Dan
and,
was busy.
you know, but but you, I mean, you have to get your information from him too, right? I mean, that's,
Yeah, I think it
that's
was
the
a little
thing.
bit easier for
Yeah.
me to do it.
So I appreciate that a lot.
I did read close to 10,000 comments and I feel like my mental health is not much better for it,
Yeah.
but I will.
You're a natural for it anyway.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
You're like the voice of the board.
Yeah, I do appreciate that, but a lot, because I think that really got the information out to the people, and really the tone of the comments have changed, because now when someone makes a, you know, uneducated comment, I'll call it, for public meeting purposes, there are a lot of other people who are jumping in and, you know, correcting that.
We got a lot of support.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I really like that. You know, going back to South Airport Road, yes, this is the right time to do that. You know, this is the perfect time. I mean, I hate to say this, but sometimes, you know, a crisis brings forth this opportunity to do things and expedite them that have previously not been expedited. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for that. And I'm looking forward to, you know, working on that with the rest of the board. When we talk about, I do want to bring up again, because Mr. Chair, I told you I would, the North Long Lake, East Long Lake Straight Road, intersection and corridor. At our last meeting, the meeting minutes, you said that you would like to have a consultant start on that intersection. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a resolution at the next meeting for that as well. You know, to begin that process as well, like we did with the Zimmerman Road extension. So, and then finally, I did speak with Representative Roth about anything that about help that he can do with expediting anything that we need from MDOT. Their office has already made a call to MDOT to put that on their radar, and so that they can keep track of this as our request starts coming in as the bid submission. So please let me know, and I would be happy to coordinate it with the office. I know that this is the expedited timeline that you put in there, but there's always, we can always strive for more expeditiousness, I should say. And so they are aware of it, and you know, and they're going to work with other area legislators to do whatever they can for with MDOT as well. So those are my points.
Commissioner Edwards. Well, it goes without saying, thanks Dan and the crew. I've expressed that a couple times over the last week. When I got a text Tuesday night that Biker collapsed, that wasn't the road I was expecting to get a text on, I'll put it that way. So I thought it would be much worse. So kudos, and hopefully the crew knows how much we appreciate everything they've done. Other than that, I was going to have some really good news, because John Chase from Parks and Rec and I went to the city. The city has given us permission to access those parks in different routes. Well, I told John we have to wait now because we got to kind of, but hopefully sometime this year we'll be able to get that part done. I was down at the Road Commission Association, and spent a lot of time in financing and what the money's going to be, and they said it was a certain percentage. Phil has assured me that it's not the percentage they told me. But anyway, so other than that, checked with our partners. The Village of Kingsley, you know, they're going to redo Bronson Road, and they want to use Voice Road as a detour. Have they contacted us?
I haven't heard anything of you, Chris.
There's been a rumor of that.
Okay, well, they actually talked about opening their meeting about doing that road, and they'd mentioned they're gonna go and ask.
They mentioned that they were going to do Bronson, and they anticipated the most likely detour was
Okay.
Forest Road.
Since it's a new
since it's a new, I mean, we've done some serious repairs along there in the last couple of years. Could we do a treatment or something prior to that to make it a little bit,
I think. We were
or
discussing,
ask them to help us with, you know, I mean,
last thing we were discussing signs, but I don't know if that had ever happened, so. But anyway, just heads up there, and then the Village of Pike Lake asked for something too, which is another individual organization, but I've kind of asked them to wait a few weeks before we can get back to the, sit down and see what they might need to partner with, so.
I'll go down there with you next time.
Okay.
We've had some, Dennis expressed some thing. We would like to help them if we can. There are certain obstacles.
I just told the president that you're not right now. We'd love to sit down and talk to you, but give us a few weeks before we can actually sit on top of it. So other than that, again, thanks to the crew. I mean, absolutely.
I have a quick question that is not super important, but I'm just curious. The Cass Road and South Airport intersection has that lane closed down because there was a collapse again. The DPW has been working on it.
yeah.
Is there much communication on that? I mean, it's a road and it kind of backs up traffic, and is this just sort of a never ending issue, or is it coming to a head? What are we doing there?
Well, me and Chris went there, had some meetings. They are looking at options.
DPW is trying to figure out some options. The one that they were hoping for required some permission to use the property on that corner, and the property owner has some development plans there that that would likely interfere with, so they're a bit hesitant to go ahead and give permission. So DPW has been evaluating their options for what they can do. They've got plate pipe under there that was originally bored through when the first failure happened. Another piece just down from that has happened again. They're looking at something to make a connection to get that fixed, and then they anticipate having to do some lining of the next 4,400 feet that heads north from that up towards the old Sarah Lee entrance there. So they are trying to get their solution nailed down.
We're about a month away from super busy time, and it's, our biggest corridor that's already stressed with the loss of Beitner. And I understand it's not in any of our hands, but it is sort of been a frustrating thing, I'm sure, for you guys to deal with. In the storm, though, nothing more was damaged. There wasn't any more issues with that.
Not as far as we have not heard of
Okay.
anything from DPW as to anything increased there.
Every time I drive by it, I think, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. And then I think, well, I can't ask the road commission because it's not the road commission's problem. It's the DPW. And,
Well, I spoke to, I forget what his name is, I'm sorry, but he was down there. They just say they're having a problem identifying some issues that they have underground still at that point. Of course, he was down there at the time because he wanted to make sure that the generator for their pump was going to be okay too.
Yeah.
Their pump right down there at South Airport at the spot where the water.
Right. Right. Okay. I just wanted to, obviously, Dan and his crew. Larry is great. Larry was helping me out, getting some graphics. Alan, I mean, I think it's always interesting to see how a community comes together in an emergency. And this was the best case scenario emergency. I know this sounds terrible, but we had an entire community where nobody was injured or killed in a pretty horrific disaster that lasted over a while. So that's a big deal. I wanted to thank Charlie and Susan Olson because the amount of time that they put into with communications, I was just a little piece that stepped up. We all step up when there's an emergency and see where we can help. But they did a lot. They coordinated. Joe and I were on 9 and 10 News simultaneously while Dan was on TCM, while they were prepping for the press release, and the press conferences. And I think the more information that people have in their hands, the better that they can cope with however they're going through this emergency. So I know Dan and Larry, you had to do a lot of extra stuff with comms, and thank you for everything.
I did have two more things to say. The North Love Lake Road intersection is on the road tour. It's a stop on the road tour. Want to solve the visual?
Moomers.
Moomer.
The moomers.
Well, maybe, Dan, that means that you got, when you're swinging that around, gotta be the afternoon there.
The moomers intersection.
Okay, so we got that. And I would like to get a shout out to Andy Smits. Andy helped us. Quite helpful, and he suggested the data points we do to Dan and I when it was,
That was brilliant.
pretty big. And we actually saved money. We have a fabulous surveyor, Jeff Fouch went down there. What's his assistant's name? Didn't he have somebody who always worked with Jeff?
Polly was helping them.
Okay. It was really a good deal. So they did all this work. And of course, you're not usually going to walk in the middle of South Airport Road. It was closed. They've got all these points. Didn't we collect quite a bit more than we even needed for the emergency?
We flew with the drones, so we have complete survey data on South Airport Road, which you never be able to do with all the traffic on there.
Yes. So Andy helped us kind of get through a little bit of crisis here. We used our own resources, which we hope, saved us money. They were available. And that's pretty important to me.
There was a great video posted of it too, where Jeff and Dan explained the data points. And of course, Andy commented, somebody smart came up with this. Andy. But if you haven't seen those videos, watch it, because it explains the process really well.
Good. So I think we're to public comment. And do we have any takers?
I do.
Commissioner,
Excuse me. Scott Seifert, I live in the Village of Kingsley, Commissioner, Grand Church County. I'm not going to talk about Alan's proactive planning. I think that we've covered that at length. I know it, but it's great. But I would like to shout out to Dan and Larry and Phil. And I can try, I don't remember your name, but I met you like 4 times in like 3 days, and I apologize. I had one, you guys are fantastic. And you know what? Actually, Dan was very helpful in educating some of us in permitting process things when we met with Greg Bird from Emergency Management. And I feel your guys' pain with permitting and things like that. We have a better understanding of that. I appreciate that. Don't fail to impress us. In your emergency response, you're willing to be able to work with us. We did get a chance to bring the schools in with all the transportation, the Dean Transportation, the TCAPS does, and that helped out a lot too. Dan rolled with the punch and it was great. I have a request, Dan, next month. This is the second meeting in a row. We've had this conversation. I'd like to skip next month, if we could, about emergency management. For the bridge cleanup at Whitener, I know that there was some direction from the state about, it's all federal highway money through MDOT, but I also believe that because of the damage of the cleanup, I think there's also some FEMA money for that as well. So please be careful or do your due diligence, keep track of all that stuff. Cause I think there's, if there's something to be had, we want to make sure we get as much as we can. And again, thank you, everyone. Thanks for tonight. Really, I'm one of many people that are very excited about the project coming in and working together in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Andy Martin, I'm the treasurer of Green Lake Township, and I want to thank you guys. I want to thank the county commissioners. Blair Township, we're all starting to work together, friends. I mean, I've been playing the government game for a long time, and we had our little fiefdoms and we didn't want to play nice. I mean, I've reached out to Dan several times for help with stuff, and he's like, I don't know. Okay, we'll do it. We found ways to work together, which is great, and it's exciting, and it's going to help us if your project ever makes it past your papers. Where you're going to get the community support because we're all working together finally, and it's great. And so thank you guys for your help today, or for your motion. It's going to help with at our board, and it's going to help with the community knowing that we aren't there. Keep up the good work. Dan, get some sleep. Sometime this year, you got to get some sleep.
That wasn't exactly a compliment. That means he might think you need some.
He's been working way too long. I don't think he slept in a week.
Thank you.
Month.
Anyone else? Can we have a motion to adjourn?
You can just do it. You're the chair.
Adjourn the chair. Yeah.